Entering the Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience. Week 3 spread picks, survivor selections, super locks, and game previews for each of the Week 3 games on the NFL schedule. I got some giveaways and I got some announcements to make. Number 1, if you want to get into a draw for $20 DK, all you need to do is smash the like button for the episode, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section, and tell me your favorite spread on the board for Week 3. Boom, it's that easy. It's a draw. Winners will be announced on next Monday's live show, 1 p.m. every Monday Eastern time on the DraftKings YouTube channel. Recap of the week and the waiver wire preview, so tune into that or just catch it on demand after the fact on the audio podcast, which leads me to the next one of these giveaways. If you subscribe, rate, download, and review the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast, like 3 people did this last week, so it's a very high percentage that you could win this draw, that you rate 5 stars, DraftKings handle, something you like about the show, boom, you're in that draw as well. Geoff Fienberg is in studio with me. So I have 2 other things that I want to do just in general. One, just a public service announcement for anyone who enjoys this show. I want to have like a good best of the season like video for the end. So if people just put in the time codes of parts that they find are funny or memorable or whatever in the comment section, it just allows me to remember where those are. And it'll make for a great end of the year show. So just in the comment section, if Tim says something ridiculous or Geoff starts to cry, just put down the time code of when that happens in the comment section. I can go back at the end of the year and review those and cut those out. Also, if anyone wants to be like gung-ho out there, there's another time code challenge. I will give 20 DK bucks away for anyone that partakes in this. If you go back from last year's Super Bowl to now and find like all the really positive things Tim said about the Jets and what was going to happen about the Jets, and you send me the show link and the time code, you can send that to the patmayoexperience@gmail.com if you want to. I can put together a super cut of all the Ander curses that have happened to the Jets. Doesn't that sound great, Geoff?
That sounds pretty fantastic.
It's just,
here's the thing. There are some obvious places where you'll find that stuff, but there's also some hidden.
Yeah.
There's like Easter eggs all over your content too.
Of course. Anytime that Tim's on. I mean, Tim's on the show all the time. There's probably even some golf shows where he brought it up.
Yeah, probably. Sure.
All right. So yeah, if you hit the description of this video or podcast, you can find the entire cheat sheet for all of our picks. They'll also be up on dkplaybook.com. We're recording this on a Tuesday afternoon, released on a Wednesday. So if anything happens in the interim, we can't know about it because it hasn't happened yet.
Like Hunter Henry breaking a leg or Sam Darnold kissing disease.
Yes. I have a theory on how that happened, by the way.
We'll get there, I'm sure.
Third member of the show, The Coin. Rebounded last week with a winning week in the picks. We'll recap here in a second. The 4th member of the show, behind the glass. So, I mean, there's no glass. He's just over there on the other side of the room. It's Paul Shaughnessy, feeling good about his mighty Buffalo Bills, who are already 2-0. And the 5th member of the team, and in the opening credits, it is Tim Undercust.
Tim Undercust.
Not my name.
And Tim Undercust. That's how you get credited. How you feeling this week?
Hold on. I'm fine. How am I feeling this week? I feel like I'm torn. My picks turned around big time, which made me feel good about myself. But some other things were unfortunate this weekend from the world of football. So sort of a mixed bag.
The first thing that I think that really needs to be addressed, not all the cursing that's gone on, how the Jets have gone down
There's
the toilet.
been no cursing.
No cursing. Yeah, it's a very curse-free NFL season so far. I think the viewers would agree with that. But he talked about Jalen Ramsey and how like Jalen Ramsey wants a trade, and Tim's all excited to get Jalen Ramsey. Is there any player in football that Tim would hate more having on his team than Jalen Ramsey? He'd be fighting with the coaches on the sideline. Like that is actively a player Tim would hate.
No, I don't think so.
Really?
I like players that are brash and are really skilled.
Do you like players that are brash and really skilled? Because every other player who's brash and really skilled that doesn't have a potential connection with the Jets, you think is awful.
I don't think that's true. I think you're painting painting with too broad a brush here. I would like to have Jalen. Not now. The season is completely over, so there's no point. But in theory, he's the sort of person I would have liked to have had.
Are we having this discussion?
I mean, we can save it for the Jets. We might as well just do it off the top.
No,
here.
but I didn't mean the Jets, the Jalen Ramsey thing.
Yeah, we'll talk Jalen Ramsey.
Jacksonville should just fire Doug Marrone.
Or let him play Mayo.
I'm amazed that they've allowed it to get to this point with a player like that. I think he is everything. I think he will be worth the insane package that they receive.
If Minka Fitzpatrick goes for a first-round pick, what do you get for Jalen Ramsey?
See, this is all about Geoff not wanting him to go to the Chiefs. Like that's why he's so upset. Look, you know that's what this is about.
Well, it's about a couple things. Sure, I don't want him to go to the Chiefs. People don't want him to go to the Patriots. But I think the Chiefs and Patriots can't win a tie because their draft pick will be too good. Their success might hurt them. They are going to have to go above, and beyond, I think, to land this player. Because I think every team that thinks that they might pick from 15 to like 24 will still want this player. He's that type of player. He's worth surrendering the pick for. He's worth giving the huge contract for. And when I say picks, multiple picks. The Chargers, never in my life. They don't even get an invitation. They don't even get to save the date. They're not invited to anything like this. For the first time in my life, I begged them to crash this party. They were debating between picking him or picking Bosa. There's a need now with injuries. This might sound like weird and silly and stupid, and it really was forever to me, but like for a year and a half, Derwin James and Jalen Ramsey have both guaranteed they will play again together. They love each other. They play together at Florida State. Let's be Seminole Nation. We're moving into a new freaking stadium in LA. Splash! Let's go!
I mean,
you're gonna let him go to the back of the pack there? There's not the fact that he could go to the freaking Chiefs.
The splash will
the
be
Chargers have to intercept that.
But the splash, right, will be that they get to open the brand new stadium on the Thursday night opener next year.
The splash is you're in LA. Like, even when the Clippers have a chance to be good, they try to be really, really good. We gotta go all in for Phillip.
Yeah, but you have to know that the Chargers are under curse, Geoff, which means that they're going to pay Melvin Gordon $20 million a year. Then they won't be able to afford anyone.
No, you trade what it costs to get Jalen.
It's probably 2 first-round picks.
Do it! Because he's worth, like, the fact that, okay, so it would be like 22nd overall, that's God willing, 18th overall, still worth it. And the fact that he's a superstar is worth giving one up on the back end. I believe so. And if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, you have to go above and beyond. And word from insiders is they just might. Because you look at their team and their situation, they have to win in Mahomes' window. The problem is they traded Frank Clark last year. They did give up some draft capital. A team like the Chargers has never traded draft capital in my life because it's always about needing those picks and being whatever. It's never been about actually doing something to go above. And maybe you could get him and Derwin to sign like buddies, identical extensions or something, where they both got to live a couple back, but they got to live their dream. Anyway, there's no way the league can watch him go to Kansas City or New England. There's no way someone cannot offer the same thing as those teams, and the Jacksonville Jaguars know that those picks are better. And I want the Chargers to do it, but I'm speaking for every team that thinks they have a pulse in this league. This guy is worth it. That's my opinion on Jalen Ramsey.
I think you make a very compelling case to that. Jamie, where do you think he ends up going? Because I don't actually think he ends up moving.
Well, that's the other thing.
If he were to leave,
they got to be crazy to trade him.
Somewhere in the NFC, likely a team that's desperate for some corner help. Maybe someone like Dallas, for example, is willing to pay through the nose.
Dallas too. Well, Jerry is Jerry's.
Yeah, the Cowboys are all in. Like, you might as well just go for it here.
Yeah, he would make a lot of sense for them. Dallas gave up a couple of first-round picks, so be it.
Packers?
So Packers would make sense for sure, although their defense is pretty stout.
Yeah, but I mean, New England's defense is pretty stout, and like
I think
there's
Tampa
talk
Bay
about him going there.
I think Tampa Bay is in the mix too.
He said apparently a week ago he was on a podcast and like his extension was being talked about, and he said he wants to play in Tennessee or Vegas. And they said, "Why Vegas?" He goes, "I don't know. I just wanted to say Vegas. Like I want to play in Vegas. Like just the concept of that was for him."
All right, enough of that. We'll get to the picks recap right now from last week. You and I were both 8-8, although in the Super 7 I was 6-1, so at least I was able to hunker down on the games that I actually did like. Stupid Baltimore. Really wanted them to cover, but they didn't. The coin was 9-7. CUST wins the week at 11-5. Congratulations. Did all your cursing go towards the Jets that you were able to have a good spread week?
I don't accept the premise of that question, and I won't answer it.
You lost your super lock, though. Oakland did not come
I
through
did.
for you. Not only did Oakland cost you on the super lock, as Geoff and I told you, teasing against the Chiefs, bad idea. What cost you on your teaser? Teasing against the Chiefs with Oakland.
The game kind of went. The Raiders should have covered that game. The Chiefs only scored in one quarter.
How
Raiders
smitten were you in the first quarter? Like, were you counting?
I thought
you were already planning the things you were going to gloat about right now.
I was beginning to think that way. Sure. I mean, it was unfolding precisely the way that I thought it would. They spotted the Raiders a 10-point lead. And then even going in, they had some opportunities to at least cover the teaser in the second half. And it was close. I missed it by 3 points. I mean, that's life. But, I thought the Raiders acquitted themselves well. They had one bad quarter and they played 3 remarkably good quarters defensively. So, there's some positives to take from that.
That they couldn't score points on a terrible defense?
Well, maybe they aren't so terrible.
Well, maybe Oakland is terrible. What about that?
I don't know. I don't think that the Raiders are terrible. I think the Chiefs defense is bad, but not atrocious. I don't know. It was an interesting game. I thought it would be more interesting than it was, but let's go back to what I wanted to talk about, which was how good my picks were. And I appreciate your comments about that. That was
it was a nice bounce back.
Yeah, nice
I
bounce
too
back.
went 6-1 in the Super 7, so it was a good week.
Yeah, so I think I'm inside like the top 10 right now. I got to keep this heater going. I've hit 9 consecutive prop bets too.
I have last year I was hot fire in that Super 7 through 2 weeks, and week 3 I was in California to the Charger game, and I forgot to make my picks.
Okay, I'll remember to make my picks this week. So unfortunately, one of my favorite games is not a part of the slate, so I can't actually take it. But
someone likes Thursday.
I do like Thursday. 2-0 for me in Superlocks. The Bills just march on through New York, so that's fantastic. You dropped to 0-2 after Big Ben gets hurt, Jeffrey, and CUST 1-1 on the year for Superlocks. We're all still alive in Survivor. First time all 3 of us have been alive through 2 weeks in 5 years.
Anyone has there been a chalk team to lose?
A lot of people took Carolina last week. And I was praying Jacksonville was going to beat Houston, which would have launched you, but
yes, in the real one. Here I took the Patriots. I tried to get fancy in the one that we
Why are you getting fancy in week 2?
I'm an idiot. But you're right. Carolina as the 6.5 favorite.
Thursday, man. Stay away from Thursday.
Just saying, that's the only team to actually lose this year that laid 6 points.
Yeah, Philly almost lost in week 1, and they came back on the Skins.
And the Saints almost lost week 1.
Yeah, but everyone ended up coming through. But I don't think a lot of people took the Saints against Houston week 1.
No, but I had a mental. Well, I'll get when we get there. But I had a weird mental block. I thought the Saints were like 0-1, but only because I covered on Houston.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
All right, let's talk about these games. Thursday night slate kicks off with Tim's favorite quarterback, Mariota-san, as a 1.5-point favorite in Jacksonville against his second favorite quarterback and his favorite restaurant on earth, Minshew Walk. It's a 1.5-point spread. 39.5 is the game total for this one. I am going to start with this one. I love Tennessee in this game. Tennessee typically lays the smackdown on Jacksonville, and they usually do it by turning around and handing the ball off to Derrick Henry. He's had a lot of success against this Jags defense over the past 2 years, despite the fact that it is pretty good, but it's a very good pass defense. But joke is on the Jacksonville defense. Who cares about how good your pass defense is if the team you're playing can't pass? So I just think about Tennessee the way that I always think about them. They're very average at almost every position, very average on all 3 levels of defense, and that's really good against a team like the Jags, who are wildly undisciplined, playing a quarterback who kind of sucks, I'm not going to lie to you, and just have internal dysfunction going on right now. This is 2 consecutive weeks. Players have been fighting on the sidelines. Like, steady Eddie, Tennessee should go in and win this by a field goal, so I like Tennessee on the road in Jacksonville Thursday night.
Why did this game go from 2.5 to 1.5?
I don't know, because people love the Jags, man. They really do.
I'm gonna take Jacksonville, but I hate this game. I don't really like it from either side, and I think Mariota could be hurt again.
Oh, he is hurt. He hurt his quad, but apparently he's going to be okay. That could be the best thing that happens at Tennessee if he's hurt and Tannehill plays.
Okay.
The coin is going with the home team in the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tim, where are you looking at here?
I'm following Pat Mayo on his heater. I'm going to take the Titans. I like them in this game.
You just said his heater was.
Yeah, you told me before the show my heater was over. Now you're siding with me?
You told your best friend that he's going to stop
Your
winning
heater
bets.
is on props. Your heater really props.
My heater is in props, but then why are you calling this a heater?
I'm just going to follow you. You've been fortunate, so I'm going to follow your good fortune and your savvy picks on this one. I liked what you said about the Titans. I think they're a significantly better team than Jacksonville right now with Minshew under center. I thought the Titans did blow out the Browns, and then they played a close game with the Colts. In a short Thursday night game, I'll just take the better team. That's what I did last week, and that's what I'm doing this week.
So as it pertains to Tennessee, they're getting they got to Jacoby Brissett quite a bit last week, which I found kind of surprising because the Colts O-line is so good. And they're going to be able to get through the offensive line in Jacksonville and get to Minshew, who put the ball on the ground 3 times last week, only lost one of them. He only had one good drive in that game. That was almost good enough to win. I would want to tackle the under here. I know it's only 39.5, but I think that just trying to bet a total in the Thursday night game is just, you might as well flip the coin. This could be 10-3, it could be 10-7, or the defenses could score 4 touchdowns apiece, and the final score is 45-35. There seems to be no rhyme or reason with these Thursday night games. Now, so far this season, teams have looked bad on Thursday night, but do you like totals at all on Thursday night games?
Rarely, but I would lean with you at the under. I don't see
the under would be the
touchdowns being scored, but the books, under 40 wouldn't take much. A couple badly placed Minshew doesn't recover those fumbles.
Yeah.
A kick return, and all of a sudden, you're really going to be behind it. So.
Yeah, so I think that's a stay away. So Tennessee for CUST and I, Jacksonville for you and the coin. Geoff, Sunday. Oh, you have more to say.
I want to say I got a week 3 disclaimer because as undisciplined as I am, I do keep records about what I
actually bet on?
actually am able to accomplish. It started really, with golf and football. Week 3, the last 2 years, I have gotten murdered. I had to meet someone with the brown bag.
You had to meet Johnny Knuckles? Cam's biggest enemy?
I don't want to get there because this guy's getting annoyed with me.
Well, you better hope the Chargers win this week.
Well, that's normally what it might come down to. But I look back at it 2 years ago, and I'll break it down. Week 3. It's week 1, it's I don't know, man. It's week 1. You got to sort of lay low. And week 2, it's I don't want to draw conclusions. I don't want to overreact. Week 3, I've seen them twice. I know what they are and what they aren't. No, we don't. And I think both of them involved the Bills. 2 years ago, they went to Atlanta when Atlanta was supposed to be good.
And beat them.
They still sometimes are supposed to be good, and they beat them. Last year, the Bills went into Minnesota.
And beat Minnesota.
And beat them good. And Houston, I'm the idiot for trusting Bill O'Brien, but they lost a horrible game to week 3 last year, which I now forget who against, maybe the Giants, that absolutely crushed me. So, yeah, week 3, you think because you're ready to, give her, because it's football. But just... disclaimer, week 3.
If people are looking for what I'm betting on, I've started to release those on Twitter and Instagram on Sunday mornings because we do the live show with Tim and Gary at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time.
And we're also pretty early in the week here. So
yeah,
it's hard
we're
to
not
put your flag in the ground.
Yeah, I've only in full disclosure, I've bet 2 things so far on this board that I liked.
I have 2, and I let that know, but you might not want to follow it.
No, I'm not going to bet on the Chargers this week. I feel like when you're
that doesn't count. That doesn't.
Oh, that's just an auto.
What?
You're just auto betting on the Chargers every week?
I'll get to that game.
When was the last time you didn't bet on the Chargers in a week? 10 years ago?
If they suck, you still get a touchdown.
Yeah, I suppose so. But you just take the Charger side every week.
No. There are times where I don't bet, but I would never bet against them.
Okay.
Ever.
Atlanta at Indianapolis. Indy's a 2-point favorite at home. 46.5 is the over-under here. Atlanta played in the Sunday Nighter and looked kind of good, but also kind of terrible at the same time. What happens if Matt Ryan faces a real pass defense? Is he going to throw 29 interceptions? It was just a really bizarre game. Fun to watch, mind you, considering I had Atlanta. That was very nice. But I'm kind of torn on what to do here. So, Tim, we'll throw to you first. Where are you leaning?
I like the Falcons. A dome team getting to play on the road. That's an advantage for the Falcons for one of their road games to be indoors. So they should take advantage of it. They do play better inside. I think the Colts are a good team, but they're limited in a way. I'll be curious to see how their back end handles Atlanta's pass attack. I can certainly see the Falcons breaking a couple. And just, when it boils down, I think the Falcons are the better football team, and I don't even have to lay a field goal indoors. So in those circumstances, I liked Atlanta start of the year. They showed me something last week. That was a critical game for them to get off the mat, and they did precisely that. So I am going to roll with them in this game.
One of the big things that I noticed from this slate, because I'm thinking about it in the context of like trying to cobble together 7 games to fill out my Super 7 sheet, and there's not 7 games that I like on this slate. So I'm going to take Indy here. I just think that they're going to be able to get to Matt Ryan, and I do think that their back end is equipped to at least limit what Ridley and Jones are up to. Tim's right that they can just experience big play after big play, but Matt Ryan doesn't look sharp. They have absolutely no running game, and the one thing that really kills Atlanta that Philadelphia was just not able to take advantage of, probably due to an immense amount of injuries to all of their good offensive players, is that I think Marlon Mack is going to have a big game against the Falcons here, and if they can do that, run the ball effectively, throw to Hines out of the backfield, or whoever like non-T.Y. Hilton players can actually like step up, whether it be Adventures of Superman, Dion Kane, or Paris Campbell, or Ebron, or Doyle. One of these guys needs to step up and complement Hilton in this way. Just Brissett can get away from the pressure. The offensive line is still pretty good. I don't think that Atlanta's pass rush is all that great. I like the -2.
I agree with you, but I'm going to be on Indy, but I got a bit of a different case here. For starters, it's their home opener. Sometimes you think week 3, everyone's had them. There are a few teams out there that haven't. So check mark for Indy in that.
Next 3 games are all home openers.
I think the spread is off. I think Atlanta is just so overrated by the general public because they have so many guys on fantasy teams.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I think Tim talks about the back end. I think the Indianapolis back end might be the most underrated unit in football. It's not like they gave up 13 or 14 passing touchdowns last year. That unit is rock solid.
And the pass rush only got better.
And there's not many. Listen, I know they got the safety hooker, but there's not a lot of names back there. I mean, the big concern about this game, this would be real money at -2 if I knew Leonard was playing.
And we'll find out.
That guy is everything. He's playing to me that they should have been favored by at least the 3 points for being the home team. I don't think there's much of a talent discrepancy here outside of a couple positions. The fantasy ones, quarterback and receiver, are the only positions I give Atlanta an edge in this game. So I would take Indy, and if Leonard plays, I could bet money on it.
The coin is going with Indianapolis as well, so it's a round of Indianapolis minus CUST, who's riding the Falcons. Maybe the only reason the Falcons ended up winning last week is Tim picked against them. Maybe that's a reason.
Not true.
You did.
I picked the Falcons.
You had the Falcons? I thought you had Philly.
No,
I think I was the only one of the group that had Philly.
The coin was doing it too. Oh, that's a good one. I'm getting CUST Corner topic sent to me via text right now. That's a really bizarre.
Boom.
I actually have a group chat with people that encounter you in day-to-day life, and they send me things that you do.
Who's on this? We'll talk about this later. I don't.
You can't know that. What?
Why do these threads need to? Why do people need to be feeding you intel?
Well, because they want it to be. They enjoy the show. They want to make the show better.
Fine.
Game of the week is up next.
It's like when Jason Kaplan sends a note to Stern about what someone did on the weekend.
Baltimore at Kansas City. They will not give the entire touchdown to Kansas City. They are favored by 6.5. I believe this is their home opener. It is 55. They were in Oakland last week, in Jacksonville in week 1. So yes, it is their home opener at Arrowhead. 55. I bet you that gets bet up because everyone's just going to take the over in this game. I think this boils down to, remember last year in this spot, I really liked Baltimore to upset Kansas City with that weird type of offense that they played. I actually think that their offense is much better this year in Baltimore, now that it's actually tailored to Lamar Jackson. However, the style that they play might not be the best way to beat Kansas City. And I'm not sold on the Ravens defense. I don't think it's that great. I think they get credit for being the Baltimore Ravens, and people think that they're really good, but good, that they shut down Miami. Congratulations. That's fantastic news. A good job on that one. But they didn't look super sharp against Kyler Murray last week. Now they got Patrick Mahomes? You kidding me? Eric Fisher should be back for this game as well. So I like the Chiefs minus 6.5. I think the Chiefs are a cut above the Ravens. I think the Ravens are good, But Kansas City is one of the best 3 teams in the league.
The Ravens, and I will even say through this week, it will be hardened for me to really know what they are. Because I give nothing to week 1. I don't care how good it looked. Last week, some question marks. And if they get stomped in Kansas City
What
at
does that tell
Arrowhead
you?
for a home opener, that's not really going to tell me much either. I do agree with a lot of your sentiment. They got one chance, and it would probably be the Lamar backdoor down 13. That's what you're betting on to me if you're betting Baltimore. So for that, give me the Chiefs to just pull away. And this could be the first opportunity to see Lamar having to pass, the defense knowing he's going to pass, because the Chiefs are up 20-7.
There is a circumstance in this game where Baltimore's offense and just the new skill players that they have around Lamar Jackson, that Kansas City is just wildly unprepared for what they're going to experience in this game. And Baltimore goes out and wins by 2 touchdowns. I think that's on the table. I think Baltimore's very live in this game. I just think if we play it out 100 times, that Kansas City covers this number, 52% of the time, something like that. It doesn't strike me like this is going to be a field goal game, does it? Like
No.
either way, it feels like a touchdown or more.
I mean, in
I
my
was
case,
really tempted to take Baltimore, but I think the Chiefs, you kind of said it, they are a cut above.
So the last 2 weeks, I have nailed myself by teasing against Kansas City. And so I will not make that mistake again.
Okay.
I will learn my mistake. I will tease the Chiefs down, and we'll do a 6-point tease. That's the way I'm playing it this week. I have a 5-team tease, a 6-pointer. So we're going to tease Kansas City down. I think they're the better team. This is 1 and 2 in the MVP race. I think it will be all year between right now, at least the way things are looking between Mahomes and Jackson, unfortunately. I still think Rivers has got a chance to get in this. I think Dak has a chance to get in this.
Okay.
I still think
What about Jameis?
I think Jameis, the division is wide open for them. They should be the betting favorite to win the division at this point.
There's actually still huge odds on them, but you wouldn't take it.
Which
so
would be
don't
silly.
worry.
Which would be silly
Yeah,
because
but don't worry, you wouldn't bet it.
I like their chances. But anyway, I think this should be a great game. Like you said, it's the marquee game if there were one. And yeah, the Chiefs are just better on the front end. Better, like their defense has got some issues, sure, but no team can go pound for pound with the Chiefs when it comes to trying to score explosively and big plays. No one quite has that skill set. So I am going to take the Chiefs in this game, lay the 6.5. I think the over comes in, and I am teasing them down because I cannot possibly imagine them losing this game. They will not steer me wrong.
You can't imagine them losing.
No, I
this
really
game?
can't. Not their home opener in Arrowhead.
Should I change my pick?
But won't all the fans just be not feeling well from eating all that gross barbecue? That really stirred a reaction from the audience last week, Tim. You taking Heinz sauces as your...
Some people were calling it Tim's worst take of the year,
No,
which is a very high bar to cross.
I hear
It was
that
bad.
so
It was
often
bad.
these days. I hear it so often. It just rolls off my back when I hear people say those sorts of hyperbolic things.
I think the totals
don't see the Chiefs losing.
I can see the Chiefs. I can definitely see the Chiefs losing this game.
This game in Baltimore, yes, I could see it happening.
the
In
Chiefs historically have not been good in their home openers.
Really?
Yeah, if you want to ring a map. I mean, I think last year they were a bit of a dominant force.
Didn't Rivers fumble a snap on Monday night in their home opener one time on Monday Night Football?
It wasn't a home opener.
It wasn't.
Anyway,
that was their home.
I think
it was week 1, wasn't it?
Really
No,
good.
it wasn't.
All right.
This Chiefs team looks really good. Baltimore has
in
not been
December.
tested. Baltimore hasn't been tested yet at all. So this will be an interesting test for them.
So according to Tim, with the way that he's really dishing out this game, I'm going to stick with my KC -6 pick. But the bet here now is Baltimore money line parlayed with the under, based on if you want to fade the under curse.
That might have been a home opener.
It was a Monday night game. It was the second half of the stupid doubleheader.
But I don't think that, because he did that. But
You got to talk into the mic, not your hand.
We've had a lot of bad incidents there.
Not last year with the 2-point convert.
Oh, yeah.
But the coin is taking Baltimore here. Last week we were
I wish I
able.
had the balls to do that.
What?
Take Baltimore.
You can. You're
Okay, switch me.
You're switching. You're switching to Baltimore. I've already written over Kansas City, so you're officially on Baltimore now. You said switch it. I switched it. No switching back because then I won't be able to read it. It looks like Dallas now. Last week, we identified the trap game of the week. We all stayed away from betting except for you, despite the fact that we still all took the Chargers anyway. There was something weird.
We all knew it was. Yeah, exactly. We all knew that line smelled to high heavens.
Yeah, so the advice was just stay away from this game and don't bet either side. And in the pick'em, that's the reason why like you ended up with the 5 losses. I ended up 8-8. Like they weren't money games whatsoever for us. They didn't even make a final 7 as it pertained to it. But I think that this game is the one you got to watch out for here. Cincinnati at Buffalo, -6 is the spread. The Bills home opener.
Oh, I disagree.
It is 44. I think that Cincinnati covers this game. Cincinnati always beats Buffalo, by the way. It always happens. And people, I think Buffalo is going to be good this year. I'm not saying that they outright lose this game, but this just screams of weird stuff happening. This is actually one of the few bets that I've made so far this week. I bet the over 44. This feels like a defensive touchdown from both teams. And the Bills haven't played a team yet with the speed on offense that Cincinnati can bring.
Well, the Jets actually have a ton of speed on offense.
Do they? Yeah. Okay. Please inform me about this Jets.
Bell is one of the fastest running backs in football.
Bell is not one of the fastest running backs in football. That's not
Anderson
true. That's just a straight out lie. And I guess the difference would be Anderson is fast, but they had a quarterback who's a donkey and can't throw the ball. He wasn't sick. No, he got sick after the fact.
No, he was sick then.
All right, I'm okay. According to Tim, do you know why? You know how Tim always brings up, and this is a theory stolen from one of our friends, so I don't want to give him full credit here because he might not be associated with this in public. But you know how you and Tim always bring up that he's the youngest quarterback in the league, safe space Sam? Do you think he got mono because he has a high school girlfriend?
It's unfortunate what's happened to him.
Well, he's very cursed. That's his problem.
I still think he'll be all right.
Oh, yes. Comment from the audience. Oh, shut up. Comment from the audience, sir.
I just find it interesting in our little private group chat how Geoff revealed this past week that the Jets are his number 2 team. So, like, all of this Jets love for all of these years, you've been a secret Jets fan. All of this time supporting Safe Space Sam.
I had no idea.
Giving props to Tim all the time.
I said it goes back to
the people.
them. My for the Jets, and when I say they're my number 2 team, they're actually my number 32 team because the Chargers go from 1 to 31. But I know a lot of annoying people who like the Dolphins because in '87 their booby brought them back like a pennant from her like winter vacation to Miami.
That's why my friend A-Rap loves the Tampa Bay Bucks.
And so this is annoying, like, damn Marino, whatever, even past the Marino age. But the Jets would always get them. Like that Jumbo Elliott like touchdown. Like even when the Dolphins were good and underachieved, but they're those really talented teams, the Jets would always get them. And the Jets always earn me from that. So I do like the Jets.
I also found out.
I like Sam Darnold.
He's great. I told you he's the key to the Jets tanking and getting a real quarterback, and he truly is at this point. But it occurred to me this week that the New York Jets and the Toronto Maple Leafs might be the same franchise. Loser fans. They haven't won in a half century. Everyone just overrates everything that they do. Like, oh, this is it. It's going to happen. And then it just obviously goes the other way. They're the same franchise. One win. Oh, playing the parade. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to the Stanley Cup. It's just loser mentality. There's a stink on these teams. And the fan bases are just horrendous. That's
nonsense. In this game, I love the Bills. The Bills are the second part of a 6-point tease. I'm not worried in the least. I just need them to win. They're not losing. Their home opener at Ralph Wilson against a Bengals team, which has been just jet setting across the country from Seattle to Cincinnati, now to Buffalo. They've crossed the continent in 2 weeks time. I don't think this is a team equipped to handle that type of travel. I know the Bengals are just nothing special. They played as okay against the Seahawks, obviously, but they just got destroyed in their home opener by the 49ers, who might actually be a Super Bowl contender. So maybe that says less about the Bengals than it does the Niners. I don't know. But nevertheless, I think this Bills team is rock solid. They played perfectly fine last week in a game where, you thought maybe they might take their foot off the gas, knowing how bad the Giants are. They didn't. They played fine. They won by 2 touchdowns. They did what they had to do. I like this Bills team a lot. I think this Bills team is probably playoff caliber right now.
Okay, can we just... I got to cut him off because people need to realize...
They played... The Bills so far have played 2 teams are going to pick maybe top 2 in the draft.
I agree, and I don't even need to make a case. You can mark me for the Bengals because a week ago this line would have been like 3.5.
Yeah.
But now there's just such a love out there for how good the Bills might be. And I'm a Bills guy, and I said before the year,
Are they your
them and the
third favorite
Jets.
team?
Yeah,
No.
the Bills are 33rd
Hold on.
because they used to beat the Dolphins a lot too. You see,
Yeah, but because we're so close to them, they like annoyed me.
That makes
But
sense.
I want them to do well, actually. I always cheer for them. I have fun always going there.
Bills fans, some of the best.
Yes, but you don't want to go there like in the other jersey. I'd rather stay home. But you want to go there with your buddies and like be part of what they're about.
And drink some Baileys out of the bottle, Tim, like we did.
I always
You
have a
watch the
great
guy
time.
funnel Bailey's.
It was a fun time.
I got to put this out there, though, so people realize Tim will now adopt the
Bills.
Bills because the Jets are so fucked, like circumstantially. It's
and
a real-
because they weren't good to begin
Well,
with.
we can disagree on that.
We don't disagree. They're bad.
Fine.
They were bad. They've
There's
always
nothing
been
that- okay,
bad,
fine.
and they are bad.
To move
and now
on-
they have Columbo starting
And
at
okay,
quarterback.
fine. And
I
I
can do my Peter Falk lazy like glass eye impression. Oh, which receiver am I throwing to this week? I'm going to solve the mystery.
Wow. First, that's an insult to Peter Falk and probably the greatest detective in the history of literature and television. I mean, better than Sherlock Holmes or Hercule
He has a
Poirot.
glass eye.
And
I'm just saying,
he always
as he
solves
is
the crime.
as he is now your starting quarterback, that's not going to be really good, is it?
Just one more thing.
He's also 90. That doesn't help either.
but
No, Peter Falk is no longer with us.
Oh, I'm sorry, Peter Falk. R.I.P. Peter Falk.
so
It
people,
was, it was. I love Columbo. It was not meant to be. It was meant to be disparaging to Luke Falk, if anyone, and Tim, not Peter Falk.
You know what? The Bills fans don't deserve to hear me rant about the Jets in the Bill section because they went to the time codes like you asked them to do.
Bills fans want you to go away, Tim.
Well, Bills fans have to
Yes.
accept that if the Jets and Dolphins can't do anything against the Patriots, I am left with no option.
this
Is
is
it
that.
not what I said before
Yes,
the show started?
but that was also the point I'm trying to make. Is now he will be Bill's super fan because they are the only hope for his other part of the Patriots not winning. So he has to buy fully. He liked the Bills before the year, but now the death of the Jets, like he is fully in on the wagon. He's a Bills super fan now.
If that's the case, then here's what Tim should be hoping for: is that the Bengals go in and upset Buffalo.
Don't tell Morency.
Yeah, seriously. Morency might fly back. I fly up to Tim and just, it's going to be the end of him. But the best case scenario for Tim's ideal situation where the Bills can challenge the Patriots is they lose outright this week to the Bengals and the Patriots just kind of cakewalk into next week and are not prepared for how good this defense is. The reason I like the Bengals to cover the 6 here is because I like their big play capability with their speed, and I don't think that the Bills have seen the kind of speed that can actually complete a pass against them so far this year. They've been living off softies so far. And Josh Allen's prone to turn the ball over 3 times. Like, I love Josh Allen, but he's good at giving the other team points.
He also makes plays that they're not human.
I agree. But I like the over of 44. That's where I would lean
I
on
actually
this
think the Bills win the game, but I think it's going to be really close.
So Cincinnati for you and I. The
Yeah.
coin is taking Buffalo. Tim is taking Buffalo.
And Buffalo's on the teaser. I'm
And
feeling good
Would
about
this
it.
get higher, you think? No way. Like,
I,
because people have made
honestly don't know. There's a love affair with
conclusions have been made
there's
about
a-
the Bills.
that they beat the two crappy New York teams. Actually, they're not the real. They beat the two
But
crappy New Jersey teams.
I do want to say you would have said 3 weeks ago that they might have the best defense in football.
I think I've said that 2 of the past 2 weeks. I think their
So
defense is
I'm
excellent.
just saying they're playing well, but they are also set up to play well and potentially keep playing well. So I'm not
Well, this is where,
discounting.
like,
I'm
their
buying
defense-
into what's
yeah, but
going on.
before, like,
I don't want to lay
look,
6.
Look, the Bills were my super lock last week. I believe in this Bills defense almost more than anything. But now we're asking them to win by 6 or more points. They're not a team super set up to win by 6 or more points.
No,
I'm
but
with
this
you, I'm
Bills
on-
defense, like you could create in a lab a defense more suited to play.
Oh
like
my
this.
This
God.
is the dude,
The
Bills and your fans. That is a death nail sentence when he starts talking about the prototypes and the labs.
Remember-
that's a second it goes downhill.
Yeah, what happened to the Jets' top 5 receiving core?
He's only doing this because he's jealous.
Jealous? Yeah.
Last year before the Chargers playoff game against the Patriots, we did that show. He pretty much said the Chargers were perfectly designed. It built in a lab to design a team to beat the Patriots. It was last year's Chargers.
I stand by that. Chargers had a bad game. The Chargers just had a bad game. That happened.
I'm crying.
See, that's a good one. If you want to put the time codes in for like clips, Jeff's already crying on the show.
Well,
That would be a good one.
oh, this week hurt more than that game, I tell you.
We'll talk about that soon. Denver at Green Bay is up next. Packers favored by 7.5. 42.5 is the game total. The other trappy game that we talked about last week was Chicago and Denver, and that was just an absolute stay away. That was also an absolute shit show of a game, especially down the stretch. Like,
Just shenanigans.
it's funny because Bears bettors got bailed out on the extra point when they missed it, but then there was they went for 2, and then there was going to be no way that the Bears could cover because they were either going to get it or they weren't going to get it. And then they got pushed back, and then they missed the extra point, but then there was the offside. So their best case scenario to cover that game was going to overtime to cover the 2.5, and they ended up tying it up, or getting the 2. So then they had to march down the field and kick the field goal. But that was a nonsense roughing the passer call, which extended that drive. And I'm not even sure that there was a second left on the clock when they called timeout.
There wasn't.
And the fact they didn't review it was just insane. And the fact that Allen Robinson didn't just drop to his knees immediately after catching it so they could call timeout. He took he tried to shimmy, take a step, and then he ended up going down. Like, I don't know what's going on with the Bears or the Broncos. It's really confusing. I think I liked the Packers in this game, but I don't love it. Again, it's hard for me to find 7 games I really like here. I'm going to take Green Bay. I just think that they're better, and Flacco absolutely reeks.
I'm going to go on the other side. I might actually bet this game in favor of the Broncos. I look at it simple. I do still believe the Broncos have a very competent, good defense. You can't find the last time the Packers scored more than like 20 or 21 points in a football game. The Packers.
Well, they scored 21 points last week.
More.
Yeah.
So I don't think I think Denver can get to the number that will cover this football game. I really do.
So you think if Denver gets to 10 points, they cover this game?
They get to 13 or 14, yeah.
I don't know if they can get to 13 or 14. This defense is good on the Packers side.
I bet them for the first 2 weeks. I'm so mad I didn't make it my super lock because I was pussyfooting about like a half point. Although I think I got lucky to even get the cover in real life.
Minnesota.
The way that game like kind of ended, though.
Minnesota just shot themselves in the foot over and over and over.
They have a bad quarterback, and it happened again. And the Broncos have a bad quarterback. And that's why
this is too many points.
It may be. I wouldn't bet the -8, but I tell you what.
We have it at -7.5, so you're looking at the wrong side again.
We will tease this one right down, though, because one thing I can say for certain is that Joe Flacco is not going into Lambeau and winning. And so the Packers will be the third end of this 5-team tease because I'm not worried. I have zero fear that Joe Flacco is going to come into Green Bay and win this game. He has,
if Fangio knows how to prepare for Rodgers as good as probably any coordinator in the league also.
He should have been able to prepare to absolutely finish off the Bears. And the Bears
he did. He knocked the crap out of the quarterback and they got bailed out on 3 different lucky things. And they still covered the real line. Well,
they just covered the line. They covered all the lines.
Oh. I find Denver a very difficult team to back because offensively they have no firepower. And when that's the case, it's really hard to get behind a team like that.
I find it funny that you make these statements. I mean, the free money we always just assume is a joke, but no way that you can see things happening. This is coming from you, by the way.
I'm aware. I know it's my vocal cords that are moving.
Do you? Well, I mean, at some point in time, you thought that the screen was actually mimicking your vocal cords. So I don't know what you know.
I wasn't the only one, by the way. People said afterwards they actually thought the same thing.
People or a person who's also an idiot.
People DM me about it.
Wait, can you at least showcase these DMs from time to time? Because no one believes you. You're just a liar.
No, I don't need to. People DM me in confidence. I don't need to then reveal them.
Yeah, so it doesn't happen is what you're saying.
It happens. So, anyway, do you think I'm wrong? Do you really see Green Bay losing this game at home to the Broncos?
It's an NFL game. I can see anyone losing to anyone.
Sure. I mean, yes, of course. There's always like a 5% chance.
It's not it's not a 5% chance. Jeff, what's the actual percentage do you think on this game that the Broncos win? 25% of the time? 20% of the time? In like real probability. Tim says it's 5%.
Based on the money line would be like -320.
Is that what it is? It's -370.
Oh.
So Vegas is telling you
under more than 25% of the time.
Yeah, it's around 25% of the time that the Broncos win.
I don't see it. Okay, well, I don't see it happening, and that's my position.
Okay. Next game, Detroit and Philly. I don't know who and who is not playing for Philly at this point, but they are favored by 9.5 at home.
I don't know what to do here.
They're favored by 6.5. At home against the Lions. 46.5 is the over/under. Jeff, you watched an awful lot of these Lions last week. They're not good, but somehow they beat your team. Are you listening to me at all?
Yeah, my phone's going to die, so I had to take my notes.
Oh, okay.
Out of
Tell us what you saw from this Detroit team.
I saw nothing.
They
But I
like to
still
run the ball
I like them to cover this game. The Eagles seem to be in a lot of trouble at the moment. If we recorded 2 hours ago, this might have said minus. I might be getting the +7.
So people are coming in on Detroit.
Yeah, people really like Detroit. The Eagles got a lot of injuries in multiple areas. I think it sets up well for Detroit to keep this a close game. Winston doesn't look himself. The Eagles
I actually
play
think Wentz looks okay.
The Eagles play a huge game the week after. It's escaping me.
It's not Dallas. Do they play Green Bay on Thursday night? Is that the game?
Could be
They
it.
do. They do. They host Green Bay. Oh, sorry, they're going to Lambeau
So,
Thursday.
Teams like don't even covering on your Sunday before a Thursday. It's not kind. The only team to do it of the 4 this year so far is Jacksonville. Last week with the cover. Yeah, give me Detroit. I wish it was the 7. In real life, those 7s, if you like it, you should bet it. And I have one in actually. So I have bet Detroit +7 real life.
It's weird. Like Detroit has played 2. I mean, they tied week 1. They played another close game in week 2. And that kind of goes to their strategy of they're just going to run the ball up the middle for basically nothing every single play and milk the clock out of this game. But even if Deshaun Jackson's not there, and even if Alshon Jeffrey's not there, and Ertz is banged up, and Goddard's not going to end up playing this game, I bet you one of those 3 ends up going. It's the defense that really worries me with the Eagles, Tim. Like, they're already down a few defensive linemen. Their secondary is just absolutely atrocious.
Really? You were worried that on 4th down, when the whole world knew they were going to have to throw to Julio Jones, they let Julio Jones go for 70 yards and a touchdown?
Well, they
You
could
find that concerning, do you?
I mean, they could have just thrown a Hail Mary to Calvin Ridley, which also probably would have been caught, and he would
They
have been wide
kept
open.
burning that poor cornerback over and over again. Ryan just couldn't hit him. My gracious.
Yeah, because Ryan might not be good.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, he is. He was the MVP a couple years ago.
Yeah, well, this isn't a couple. You realize this isn't a couple of years ago, right? This is now.
But then anyway, we're not talking about Matt Ryan. We're talking about this game. I haven't the slightest earthly idea what to do with it. I find it the hardest game of the week to pick. I'm going to take the Eagles just because I continue to not think this Detroit team is very good. I know they're 1-0-1, but I think the Eagles are at home again this week, they're at home this week instead of being on the road. That helps them. The Lions are a dome team. They're going outdoors. The advantage there would be to the Eagles, and that's because I can't figure it out, and I'm not having to lay the full 7. I'll just take Philly here for the purposes of the show.
Yeah, I'm going to take Philly as well. I just think better quarterback, far superior coach, home field. Unless Galladay just goes bonkers down the field over and over again, which is possible in this game. I think that Philly should cover this number. Although I haven't been super impressed with them, but they really probably should have. Like Aguilar makes that catch and doesn't drop it down the sidelines. They win that game on Sunday night.
Yeah, probably. Or if they could play a little bit of defense.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. This will be a no bet game for me, but Philly for me, Philly for Tim, Philly for the coin. Geoff is on Detroit. Miami at Dallas.
Oh, Lord.
Minus 21.5. Over under is 47. Tim's fantasy superstar, Michael Gallup, is now out 2 to 4 weeks. But now we get Devin Smith, which is really nice. I'm going to make this very quick. I've taken Miami the first 2 weeks because like, hey, how can teams not cover? I'm now doing the opposite. Until Miami can cover one of these stupid lines, I'm picking against them. I'm taking Dallas.
I don't think this one's enough, Dallas.
Agreed. Until I see Miami play like a professional team.
Yeah, they have to. Yeah, exactly.
They have to actually show me some life
And
whatsoever.
I could be quick because he'll have a lot to say. I like the Jets in the next game because I actually think they care and will try. Even though how screwed they are, I do think that there is a level of caring there that it's not the same. It's not the same as what's going on in Miami.
I did promise
Miami makes
myself
zero effort. Zero.
I couldn't lay 2 20-digit spreads this week, but I knew I'd have to lay one of them. We're just going to lay Dallas. Dallas is my suicide pick this week as well.
Dallas is my suicide pick as well.
Same.
Let's talk.
It's going to get pretty boring, I think, if Miami is what they are.
Well, they go on buying week 5, and then what are you going to do?
Yeah,
when they play the Bills the second time and the Patriots again.
No, I mean, the Miami has a win on the schedule. They'll beat the Jets, which is going to be hilarious.
It's starting to look that way. Well, they play the Giants as well.
They play the Chargers next week. They can win.
What are you talking about?
If there's a team capable, it's us.
Come on now. They're not that Cursed. Unless Rivers has a heart attack this week or something.
I can't take the Chargers in the suicide next week because I've already used them.
it is the move. Like in these we already talked about like fancy plays in suicide leagues. You got real fancy and you got lucky last week because the Jags probably should have won that game. If we had super 16K cameras, maybe it would have shown Fournette was in. I don't know. Or maybe they just call a better play at the goal line from 2 yards out. Maybe they win that game. Either way, I think you just pick against Miami until they show some sign of being a normal. I'm not talking about like they go out and they have to come within like 2 seconds of winning a game. Just don't lose by 35 points every week. Until that's the case, I don't care if you have to burn New England, which we did, or burn Dallas or whatever. Just pick against Miami every week. That's the move. Like, you don't need to be like, oh, well, Philly's a 6.5 point favorite. Take Philly. That could work. That sounds like a recipe for getting yourself knocked out.
Yeah, it also sounds like a recipe of the 500-man pool being chopped 420 ways.
Whatever.
I'm just
maybe when you get to the end of the season and you run out of the teams that are playing against Miami because you've already used them, that's when you have to make a more concrete stand. But the whole key to these eliminator
you haven't
pools,
used them if you're
which
just playing
every
Miami.
single person seems to forget every single year. Just stay alive as long as possible.
It's survive and advance. That's the name of the game.
Worry about next week.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't worry about burning the
I
good
couldn't
teams.
stand when we
Now, you
used
could
to
take the
work in
Patriot-
that when we used to work in that newsroom, and some of those, I'll call them kids because I'm older than them. They like had their survivor, like they'd show you like week 1 who they planned on using every week.
I mean, we say it on the show.
Not week 1. You don't like know who you want to use week 14.
Oh yeah, they would have it the entire schedule.
And like Ben
planned.
broke it. Is that Breeze? Like there's so many variables.
silly.
Team A sucks. Team Y is amazing. Like,
Well, I say that, but like I love playing that game when the schedule comes out. So perhaps I should don't.
that's different.
Yeah,
When you
anyway,
do pick your
you got-
survivor every week.
This week you got to take Dallas, or if you still have the Patriots, you take the Patriots. One of those two picks are the only picks on the board worth taking.
I agree. Next game, the New York Jumbo Jets, Tim, at the New England Patriots. Minus 22.5, over under 43.5. I kind of like the over here because the Patriots might score more than 43.5 points. I like New England to cover the spread. Nick Falk or Colombo or whoever the hell this guy is, he is god awful. Like, he's legit bad.
He did not play. He did not play badly last night. He was not their problem.
Yeah, he's good, Tim. He's great.
Oh, Washington State takeover.
Tim was
Yeah.
messaging us during the Monday night game, telling us how this is setting up exactly like the Thursday night game against the Browns last year when Baker came in for the rebound to come back and beat the Jets, that he thought that Nick Folk, what the fuck is this guy's name? Luke Falk?
Luke Falk.
Yeah,
Luke Falk.
He said that Luke Falk was going to come in and do the exact same thing to the Browns. He can only complete one pass behind the line of scrimmage to Le'Veon Bell.
Do you want to know?
That's it.
Every single golf bet that I made this week, I parlayed with the Browns money line yesterday,
Smart.
and it took each of them up about like
4 or 5 points more.
more.
With
Like,
the money line?
yeah,
No.
like a 33-1 became like a 46-1.
Okay.
47,
I like
48-1. I had not a doubt. Yeah.
I mean, I think the defense played hard last night, and they did. I mean, they were giving the Browns were getting punts and having pretty short fields for a good amount of the evening. It helped out that the Browns quarterback played very poorly.
Well,
I agree with Tim.
And by
I don't
40
think
to 3.
I don't think that they looked impressive, but I don't necessarily agree with the amount of times that Tim is talking about. Like, they stalled them and they had to punt. I think one of the reasons that they continued to punt on 4th down and short from midfield was like, well, the Jets aren't moving the ball. Let's just kick it to them and then we'll get it back in
the
half.
Jets were giving the Browns short fields too. Like, I thought the defense.
No, that's why
that's
why I'm saying
They're
that
like
the Browns
saying, go score a
continued to punt.
touchdown. Try, like,
Yeah,
go
just
march.
Try
the
to get
field.
it out
Yeah.
of your end zone. Go nuts.
Yeah, you take away the one brain fart touchdown, the little screen pass to Beckham, and that game is 16-3. Like, yeah, the Jets did not play well.
Do you know-
The defense played fine. Now, this is a big number, and I am very concerned about it. I will take the Jets against the number, but I wouldn't bet it. I don't feel that confidently about it. Patriots could certainly cover it. I mean, the Jets haven't won in Foxborough since, I believe, the year that
What are
we
you
beat
talking about
Randy
winning?
Moss.
What's
So-
even the word win in the sentence?
So I mean, that's how poorly we play in Foxborough. Like, we don't even come. Of course, we had a game stolen from us a couple of seasons ago. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're going to lose comfortably. The question is, do we lose by 17 and we get the cover, or do we lose by 45? I mean, I don't think the Jets are as bad as the Dolphins. So, like,
No, they're worse.
No.
I don't
Because they
know.
try. They'll try to.
Which makes it even sadder, Jeff. is that
Agreed.
They're going to try
Agreed.
and be just as bad.
Skill
But I'm
position
gonna
players that
take-
the Dolphins don't have.
I'm gonna take the points with the team that's trying versus the Dolphins. It's not even a question.
Like the
So
Jets
I'm-
still have Bell. They still have Anderson. They
But
still
I
have
want to
guys who
say I might regret this because I made a halftime wager last night on Jets second half team total under 7.5.
Oh, that's a smart bet.
And I got nervous, but they stalled out and they had to go for some fourth downs that,
Yeah,
But
and
they-
Bell fumbled it to
Yeah,
win
that's- yeah.
closer had he not fumbled it down there. I don't know. It was very tough to watch. This game will also be tough to
I
watch.
feel bad for you a little bit, to be
I
honest.
do not. Paul feels so bad about Tim and what's happened to the Jets is that he writes tweets and then deletes them before he sends them because it's just too sad at this point. I am not one of those people.
It's true, Tim. I care.
I appreciate that. I appreciate your sensitivity.
I had
It is-
Peterman
it is-
before, so I can relate.
And I gotta
it's
say, for all
painful.
the hell that I personally, my perception feels that the Chargers have been through, I feel better because there are so many teams that have been dealt like season-ending blows.
but what we've talked about is that the Ander curse on the Chargers is just going to get worse and worse and worse every single week, and it's happening every single week.
I mean, it's
something more worse happens to them.
It's a death by 1,000 cuts, as we joked about last week when we said every team you sort of praised in week one completely fell on their face except the Chargers. But don't worry, it's going to just be the most painful existence. And it was followed, we'll get there, but it was followed up with maybe the most painful loss in a long time for me.
I've never played a 10-point teaser before.
Oh, I have.
Can you do a 2-game 10-point
But you
teaser?
lose on a tie, so be careful.
That's okay, but like, can you do
No.
a 2? Yeah, it has to be
No.
a 3-team,
Yeah.
right? Okay, I was gonna say because if you could play a 10-point teaser with these 2 games, that would be the move. Because everyone would take Dallas minus 11.5, and everyone would take New England minus 12.5, wouldn't they?
They would.
Like
I
if, tho-
think.
if,
There's not
if
really
those
much
were-
on this board on a 10-point
if those
teaser.
were the lines for these games, you would pick the 2 favorites, wouldn't you?
Oh, if the spreads were 10 and like normal,
Yeah.
good team
Oh
spreads?
yes,
Yeah.
it would have been.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if Sam were in this game would probably only be 12 or 13. Probably even be lower because we probably would be 2-0 if he was healthy and played both weeks. That just shows you how important he is to this team. This team goes from
That's your
playoff
sad,
contender.
pathetic attempt to have some sort of like, oh yeah, in theoretical games that I mean, one of them he fucking played in and lost because it
Yeah,
sucks.
but he was sick.
He wasn't sick. He wasn't sick. He sucks.
Does this sound
No,
like a guy
he was
who's over what has happened?
I mean, the only person
Listen,
who might
it
be
still
less,
hurts.
the only person who's less over what's going on with the Jets than Tim is Meter Maid Fred. That's it.
Stop calling him that. Listen, does it hurt? Yes, it is going to continue to hurt for a while. But I have at least come to terms with the fact that it's not going to get better this season, that my hopes have been dashed. And so now I have to turn my energies in a negative direction and start cheering against the teams I don't like.
Yeah, but now you're hurting poor Paul's feelings by jumping on the Bills bandwagon.
Well, I mean, I don't particularly like the Buffalo Bills as a franchise, but they will, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. They're my best hope. So we'll see you next week. I'm
Good
hopeful.
luck, Bills.
Well, did you also see a very, very underrated Ander curse happen this week? Is that Tim pointed out that Jamal Adams is the best safety in football, and today he demands his release.
That's not what happened at all.
That's what you said, and now
You
he
did
wants
not
off the
demand
team.
You did not demand his release.
That's what reports are saying.
When did that come? That wasn't what he said earlier today.
Yeah, well, he took New York Jets off his Instagram and Twitter as
But apparently he never followed them on IG.
He's not following. It said that he played for the
Yeah.
Jets, and he took that out of his bio.
Tim's sounding like a lover scorned here.
He's taken the Jets out of his profile, which is a pretty funny thing to do.
I can't right now.
It's just too embarrassing to be associated with Tim and the Jets.
Whatever. Sure.
It's funny. I went on ESPN last night, and the lead story was, "Are the Jets cursed?" I was like, "Yeah, of course they are." Oh,
I am
they're
in.
so
I
bad.
am in blood so far. Stepped in, as Beth would say.
Before we went on air, he said he was finding zen about the whole situation.
Sam-
I
It
am
sounds
trying
like
to find Zen. I am trying to find Zen. I know it's not going to get better. Like there's no hopes to get up anymore. I don't know if it's Zen or just a sense of nihilism that it's just not going to get
I feel
better.
bad. September 17th.
Don't feel bad for him. Look who he's doing to your team. It's just like Paul. Paul doesn't want, Paul's trying to be nice to him. What does Tim do? Goes on Paul's team and curses them.
Yeah, I'm not deleting shit anymore.
Okay.
Final game of the early slate. I like the distribution between the games. This is very nice.
Yes, it's much better than last week at 10 2 o'clock games. That's craziness. This way is a lot more balanced.
Oakland at Minnesota. Minnesota is favored by 8 in this game. 43 is the over-under. Two things of note here from the Oakland side of the ball. Josh Jacobs is dealing with a groin injury. No word on if he's going to play or not. Tyrell Williams dealing with a hip pointer. No word on if he's going to play or not. I'd say they probably do play, but I have no confidence in saying that at this point. 8's a lot. So I want to hear from Tim. I assume this is your super lock since you hate Minnesota and love Oakland.
Quite the opposite. We're going to play the Vikings in this game. I think the injuries are significant. Playing on the road like that matters. And we are going to tease the Minnesota Vikings down as well. Not that I particularly have any love for this Vikings team. I think it is offensively quite challenged. I think they have a couple of good playmakers, but their quarterback kills them. Their defense is still pretty darn sturdy. We've seen that 2 weeks in a row. The Raiders are not at full strength. We've yet to see Oakland on the road. We'll see how they are as a road team. I suspect they're a smidge worse on the road than home, as many teams are. So 8's a lot. I would not bet it at 8, but I would tease it down, and I feel good about it because basically I'm just saying I need the Vikings to win the ball game. I do think the Vikings will win the game at home.
The coin is taking Oakland here, Jeff. I don't know what to do in this game. I could see Oakland keeping this close.
I like Minnesota here. I might actually bet the game. It comes down to a couple things for me. We all know, for obvious reasons, Oakland had a fire under their ass and had that great week 1 performance. And, they started with some effort last week.
Oh, Paul brought this up, actually. Remember last year we talked about Matt Nagy and the Bears offense, how through the first half of the first quarter, everything looked really good. They were able to script all these plays. Oakland has come out of the gate fire on their scripted plays for the first 2 games of the season, then been kind of a disaster afterwards.
And this, you're going to go into my next point. I'm going to make this bet based on one number. Mike Zimmer against the spread as head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, 53-28. I think the Raiders coaching is a joke. I think the Raiders, they looked capable. I think they're soon going to realize what sort of shitstorm they're in.
There's a few things.
Minnesota.
I know I give Tim a hard time on some of this stuff. He might have been onto something here after he reversed his position on Kirk Cousins, then tripled down on it. He has not looked good. Get off fucking Facebook Messenger. Do you need to have it open while we do the show? Are you chatting with others?
Who uses Facebook? Like grandmas?
We use Facebook Messenger as a group chat. It's very easy to do.
Like this group chat, you've got people talking
he's
about.
He's trying to hunt out the rat. I think.
I need to know who's on this thread. Actually, I'm very interested.
It's probably everyone you absolutely think is on.
I saw what you did there.
The Oakland secondary
can't fool me.
Yeah, can't fool you at all, can we? The Oakland secondary is actually the best part of their defense. They can't get to the passer, but if they can just limit Dalvin Cook, I think they can keep it within a touchdown. I do. One of those things where they have no chance to win the game, but the game is just weirdly close. It feels like one of those games.
I do agree. This is a game I will probably have on my Sunday 2-banger. I got to find a partner for it. But in terms of my win confidence when talking about spreads that aren't in the 20s, this would be my highest win confidence.
But remember Geoff mentioned how bad week 3 is for him and that Minnesota at home in week 3 last year.
Okay, yeah. I got to rein it in. Thank you for the life jacket. I will not swim without a vest this week.
I'm going to take Oakland +8. Don't feel good about it. Like I said, I don't feel good about any of these.
Yeah, you're right. It's going to be hard to find 7, but I'll find 7 losers anyway, I promise.
All right, so we're in between after the morning and the afternoon slate. I got 3 things here for Tim, by the way, that were pitched to me. One, maybe you can describe this. Tim puts kosher salt on his hot dogs?
I don't really understand it. I know the all beef kosher hot dog is a 5-star wiener.
It is.
But do you need to put extra salt on hot dogs?
I don't know why he's trying to what brand hot dog do you rock?
I like Top Dogs.
You realize you're older than 6 years old, right?
Whatever. I like hot dogs. I also like the
See,
foot
I
long from
thought
Costco.
he was gonna
The Costco
like
hot dog.
shock me and give me some like higher end like kosher Jewish
No.
brand.
If we've learned anything from Tim,
know.
he's like the lowest of the low, like any product.
But why?
I like the ones in Costco too.
And following up from last week with the oil discussion that we were talking about, did you see what he said he's doing? Did you miss this? So instead of balsamic vinegar mixed with the oil,
Canola, right?
he said he's going to use canola oil and malt vinegar and then use toasted bread for dipping. Did you actually do that?
I haven't done it yet. The whole argument was about whether I thought that would be an adequate replacement.
Can I tell you something? Do you want to you put that like
Can I tell you something?
yeah.
You have a big pen line down the middle of your head from going like this.
Where is it?
You got it.
Oh, where? How big could it have been?
Yeah, I noticed it.
You slice up one of those French baguettes. You drizzle it with olive oil. You do the sea salt, and you put it in like the toaster oven for a few minutes. Oh, yeah. Nothing involving canola oil
Or
though.
No, I was
malt
gonna take-
vinegar.
Malt vinegar.
No, I was going to take Texas toast, put it in the toaster, cut it into squares or points.
When you
But-
say Texas toast, you're just buying Wonder Bread Texas toast style, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay,
And then
I didn't.
Whoa,
think
no, let it finish.
toast it up, cut it into either squares or wedges, and then in a little container instead of using extra virgin. I mean, in my opinion, basically oil is oil is oil. So olive oil can be easily replaced with like canola oil or vegetable oil. Like that's fine. And then I think malt vinegar is better than balsamic vinegar. I think that it tastes much better. So what's the difference? It's oil, it's vinegar, it's bread. If I liked it one way, it won't be as good, perhaps, sure. But it's 80% of the way. And if you're in a rush and you want something tasty and quick, well, whatever. That's what you get around the house.
Why do you have to be in a rush to do this? What would be the difference than actually buying the real thing? No, when he said this the first time, he said he was going to cut it into triangles and squares because it's fancy.
It is fancy.
Also,
That's how people think their caviar.
anytime,
for
hold
example.
on. Anytime you bashed him for like his shitty food things, he always, and part of his defense for it is in a rush, like microwaving that revolting stuff.
And we talk
Like
about Tim
he's-
having
he's-
all the
yeah.
time in the world to go stand in line at banks, but he can't make himself a meal.
Just it's about being resourceful. That's what you got around the house. I think you can pinch hit with that, and it's fine. I think you would basically say, you know what, this is almost as good as the stuff you get at those fancy Italian places. That's all.
But we
Like Pizza
discussed,
Delight?
Yeah, like Pizza Delight.
Those fancy Italian places.
Last thing that I found out about Tim, do you know he boils his water for ice?
That is
Yes,
messed
I do.
up.
A lot of restaurants do that way. It's perfectly clear.
No,
Okay,
they
if
don't.
restaurants do that, and that's how they make their ice, why don't you take a tip from restaurants when serving food?
I don't know what you mean.
Like, you do, like, the low-budget knockoff
It's his
version of what restaurants
DVOA
do.
of restaurant. Like,
But, like, you're at home. Who cares?
Well, like I'm in no rush to make ice.
But
so
you're in a rush to make all your food, but to make ice, it's a 20-minute process?
If I'm gonna have ice, I like it to be clear. I don't like ice cubes where you can like see the white lines in the middle. That bothers me. I prefer my ice cubes to be clear. Call me old-fashioned, if you will. That's what I like.
I need to have the fanciest ice cubes to go along with my malt vinegar and canola oil dipping for bread. But that's
I
so
don't see why
insane.
that's
and
so
it
funny.
seems
Like, I don't
very
see what's
millennial to boil your ice
It
cube
really
water.
does. Well, he also talked about how
No.
Tim also brushes his teeth with bottled water, so I guess that makes
Not
sense.
bottled water, water from a cooler.
I don't understand.
Like, that's crazy talk, boiling your water to make ice cubes. Generally, the only time that people make ice cubes is because they realize that they're out of ice cubes and want one, so they just immediately go to the tap, fill it up, and throw it in the freezer, and hopefully it gets done quickly enough.
I think that's how you experience
Jeff,
it. I think a
how,
lot of people.
how do you experience ice cubes?
Okay, my wife gets mad at me when I fill the ice cube tray up from the sink. She prefers that I use like the water thing on the fridge.
So she's a fancy
Well,
man.
yes, of course.
She's a fancy
But
lady like Tim.
I'm like,
It's
no,
not-
I'm no, like it's freaking ice. Like I just do, like let it all flow into the cube trays.
No,
and
no. It's got to be filtered or boiled so that you get some of the imperfections out of it.
It's fucking ice. Who cares?
the
Well, I
imperfections.
do.
Why do you care? Please explain to me why you care.
Well, first, it looks cool AF to have a perfectly clear ice cube in your glass.
You claim you're not a millennial? Listen to you.
Who are you entertaining?
No one.
Nobody.
So
I don't like the ice cubes that have the. I just prefer to boil it because that way it's been boiled. It's been up to 212. It's been there's no imperfections into it. It's as good as it's going to get. Then it just looks nice. It's about being aesthetically. Some of us go the extra distance, and some people don't. That's the difference between us, perhaps.
So you will go the extra distance to have an aesthetically pleasing ice cube for yourself because no one else is around, yet you won't take the extra 2 minutes to buy a different type of oil and vinegar at the store to make it far superior.
I never said that the canola oil was better. You said it was
80%, which makes no sense.
Yeah, it's maybe of course it does. Oil is oil pretty much.
Oil, okay, then use motor oil then. How about that?
Well, no, obviously that's not consumable. That's a synthetic oil.
Based on what you eat and what you talk about, I'm pretty sure you could handle motor oil at this point.
I don't think so. But again,
it would give you good viscosity, and then you would have no thermal breakdown.
I know you like to think you can look down your nose and judge about the trappings of the life of the average Joe, but
the life of the average Joe who demands aesthetically pleasing ice cubes for himself.
You're such a
because it's lit AF.
Cool.
It's pretty
no
good.
pun intended. It's cool AF.
Oh, I didn't even think of. That's ice.
Jets fans, eh?
Tim.
No, I don't.
Tim, it's nice to see you.
Compose myself.
Late slate of games. Carolina at Arizona. This game is off the board. It had opened as Carolina 2.5-point favorites in Arizona. However, it has now come out that Cam Newton may or may not play in this game. For the sake of Carolina's hopes this season, Cam has a foot sprain, and it can heal itself up in like 2 to 3 weeks. That sitting him out this game, coming off the extended bye, actually makes an awful lot of sense in a game that's still winnable, I think. But what do you think the line, let's say Cam plays in this game? Obviously, now that he's injured, the line probably goes to pick him or Cardinals by 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I just don't know who would be betting on Carolina if Cam starts.
I just thought my first instinct is annoying. Got to make a pick without the spread, and then it's like, well, what would the spread be? And it's like, wouldn't matter anyway. I'm gonna take.
We'll call this game pick 'em for the purposes of this show.
Yeah, but I think when it comes out, well, I guess if Cam's not there, what are you expecting?
Will Greer, I guess.
Give me. I'm gonna pick Arizona here.
Tim?
I'm going to take Carolina. I still think there are more talent, even without Newton under center or with Newton under center. I still don't trust what's going on in Arizona. I don't know. There's something missing there. They're not quite hitting their stride yet or something. So I don't know. I'm gonna play the Panthers because at least I know what they've got.
I do not understand.
Plus they're coming off the long rest. That helps.
Not if you don't have your quarterback.
Yeah, even if you don't, at least the other players on your team are slightly more rested than the other guys are, right?
If you have something to offer on the game, go ahead. Because
if we're gonna call it, we'll call it a pick 'em. I'll take Carolina.
I do not understand the trend of these young urban men wearing babushkas.
What are babushkas?
This is like what Cam Newton had on his head after the game. These are essentially what like my 90-year-old like booby would wear.
So you're saying it's something that Tim would wear?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, it's like my booby just got her hair done before the Jewish holidays, and to keep it like perfect, in the fall, she'll walk around with one of those like babushkas on her head for like a week.
Oh,
And now it's like-
is it like a bandana but for
Yeah.
your head? Like when you see like old timey footage of Eastern Europe and there's like gypsies around. That's how they're
Absolutely,
dressed?
absolutely. I don't understand it. Most of the things though they do, I think, are very cool, and I'm just not with. This one I don't get.
Here's the thing, and I continuously tell. I mean, I say it to Tim more than anyone, but just for the people out there that don't know, when you're as handsome as Cam Newton, this applies to all handsome people.
get
in
away
general.
with anything.
You can wear whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You will just still look good in it.
He's got that drip.
He's the most handsome man in football. He can wear whatever he wants.
Is he?
Yes. We actually had a discussion.
More than Jimmy?
Me, my wife, my friend, and his wife about the most attractive quarterbacks of all time.
Of all time.
And my friend's wife broke it down to it comes down to 2 quarterbacks. Who do you think? And Cam Newton was one of them. Cam Newton is one. Who do you think the other one was? Tim.
It's not active.
No longer active. It's a retired quarterback. Tim.
Joe Namath?
Nope.
Steve Young.
No.
Was it a good quarterback?
Paul from the
Hold
audience.
on.
I'll let him
Well,
go.
if he has a
wants to
guess,
take
I don't have a guess. So
Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner was the answer. Kurt Warner
I don't
has
get it either, but I've heard it
primo
before.
dad vibes. And one of the strongest jaws you'll ever see.
Okay. A granite jaw will do you wonders.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can get away with being a slob as long as you have a good-looking jaw.
Yeah. My buddy had the best jaw of the group. Did very well for himself.
Yeah, good jaw. Good jaw will get you the ladies or men.
A
We don't
granite,
discriminate here.
Yeah.
But a good jaw will get you either. Maybe both. Who knows? Anyway, so Carolina, Jeff on Arizona. Giants at Tampa. Daniel Jones, starting. Daniel Jones, start now. Ow, he's starting now. Eli bench. This makes absolutely no sense to me. For this reason. If you were going to replace Eli after week 2, what was the point of starting Eli in the first place?
Or if you're surprised he's bad.
And yeah, or now I believe they have the Patriots coming up. They have 3 tougher games coming up. At least give the kid a shot. Like if you're 0-6 going in, there's now no longer any expectations. Yeah. Golden Tate would be back. Sterling Shepard would be healthy. Like you can put him in a better scenario than this. Like this doesn't make any sense to me. I get why they're starting him. Because you want to see, like I get that
Just
part
start
of
the
it.
clock.
Then just start it in week 1.
And also, there's no healthy receivers, right? Shepard might not be in
That's
protocol.
what I'm saying. And Tate's out.
I mean, Tim made a comment earlier. There was a team he didn't really want to get behind because they have a if you can't stretch the field in 2019,
They said it about Denver.
it's really hard to want to
Back them, yeah.
get behind you.
So the Bucks are -6.5 at home.
But I don't know about
48
that
is
either.
the over/under. Tim's boldest call of Tampa winning the division is very much in play right now. I still don't think that they're good.
You
but
should bet it because the number is big considering the Saints situation.
Tim's best friend Todd Bowles has actually made this defense a whole lot better than I would have ever anticipated. They still can't block to
Christian
save their
McCaffrey
lives.
got 50 yards. Or
Well, I mean,
something.
they've built their team to be an excellent run-stopping defense, not necessarily a pass-stopping defense. But either way, that's the one way that you need to beat the Giants, right? And you shut down Barkley. What else are they going to do? 6.5 isn't enough. This is my super lock of the week. I love the Bucks in this game.
Okay. I'm gonna.
Yeah, I don't think it's enough either. It's not a super lock or anything, but I like the Buccaneers. Because it's a tough card trying to find 7 games for the Super 7. They may find their way on there.
Can't make a case for the Giants.
How is this not a part of your teaser?
Now I got one other game on my teaser. You know
You should
what?
have
It's
2
just
other.
Winston. No, I have 3. I have 4 in, and I have 1 to go. I don't know. Winston.
Let me throw this at you, and I could just hit your link, but I'm looking you in the eye.
Okay.
Dak or Winston?
Dak. I have Dak at 3, Winston at 5. Dak is I feel like there are 3 must-start regardless of matchup quarterbacks right now. It's Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Dak. And Josh Allen's very close. Because Josh Allen is essentially putting up Cam Newton fantasy numbers. So yeah, that's it for us in this one. Just Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I got nothing else to say.
All right. This is the 2 bets that I've made so far this week already is the over 44 in that Buffalo game and Tampa -6.5. And I doubt my card really gets a whole lot bigger unless you guys convince me on something else. Oh, Jeff's team. This is always good for a long segment. Houston at the Los Angeles Chargers, -3. That's going to go up at some point, so it's -3 at the moment. 47.5 is the over-under. Let me ask you this. I did throw this out to you before the show. Maybe I'll ask CUST this. So, Tim, was there a more Chargers way to lose last week than the way that they lost? They fumbled on the 1-inch yard line. They had a touchdown.
After scoring twice.
Had 2 touchdowns called back. They missed a bunch of field goals, and that led to Phillip Rivers not trusting the kicker and throwing like picks in the end zone that caused turnovers. Like it was the most Chargers
Let me time
loss of all
capsule
time.
it better. We're up 10-6 at the half. We go right down the field. We score 2 times, both called back. 2 separate running backs. We get it to first and goal at the 1. We fumble. We are still up 10-6. We take it right back down the field. We miss a field goal. We are still up 10-6 because I think Stafford threw a pick the first play out of a missed field goal. And we go right back down the field and we miss another field goal. And you can only play that game so long. The Lions, they are NFL players. They score a touchdown. That's what NFL teams normally do over the course of 4 quarters. We are now down 13-10, and we have the most immaculate, like, time-killing drive to either send this game to overtime. We have a first down, like, at the 20, at the 2-minute warning. This is my, like, we do everything, and then we have a first down play that loses 5 yards. Phillip no longer trusts the kicker, and he just overplays his hand. There's a couple, I'm going to not say that word, because I like some of these people.
Are you going to say that Tai Long,
No, I don't wanna go there.
and Tai Long are
There's-
no longer top 5 best kickers of all time?
The most handsome guy in the league might be my kicker who doesn't play.
Is he playing this week?
I freaking hope so. Anyone who watched that game and thinks it's Phillip Rivers' fault we lost is a psychopath. And I know a few people who have taken that take, and I know them personally, and they are kind of psychopaths.
Do you think that they're doing it to actively troll you?
No, but I think they watched only the last minute of the game and blamed Phillip Rivers. That's fine. You want me to go? I should go. I'm not going to.
You're going to take the Chargers. We know that.
No, but I mean, okay.
This is
Wasn't
going
Rivers'
up, though.
fault.
You saw the juice go up on the -3, and it's going to go up to
And I've
-3.
already seen a site with the -3.5 at -110, and I'm really only seeing -3s, -120. So for that reason, I had to bet it. This was the worst loss I can remember in a few years because it was.
We called it the trap game of last week. Like something was up about this.
I don't
game.
know, but we did play. I'm so torn because we played so freaking well. I'm so happy with how they coached the game, how they played the game. I'll take that 100 out of 100. Just the execution was an abomination. We crossed midfield into scoring range 4 times in the second half. We didn't score a point. So our defense that sucks, I think they played a really good job. They tried to pick on our B corners, which is a D corner, because we're having injuries behind the injuries.
That is the single biggest issue. That's the biggest issue I can think of that the Texans will give them problems.
Okay, fine.
Will Fuller has been 2 games away from like 200 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, they might, but we might be able to do some things on that end. So a lot of the things that were concerning me, I actually was really impressed with in the game. I don't hate a player more in the world than Travis Benjamin. Okay, I do not. He had a 3rd and 5 that was literally, you couldn't have put it in his numbers more on like a perfectly play called, he just drops the ball. I do not understand you're in receiver trouble. No. I do not understand rostering Travis Benjamin on your team, especially when you're in receiver trouble, and not one time ever throwing him like a fly. It's all he's freaking good for, and he'll drop it anyway. But how do you have him on the team and you don't even try that play? Mind-boggling.
How's the offensive line holding up?
I thought they played great. I thought their numbers were, by Pro Football Focus, was grading up pretty well. I think if you isolate a couple plays out of the Indy game, I think the concerns on the offensive line will not, trust me, there are concerns. I don't think they're nearly as bad as some people have made them out to be going into the season, or at least through the first 2 games.
Will they be able to block what?
Well, maybe his brother can protect on the other side. I don't know. They'll have to do a lot of things. I know one thing, Pat. There's a price I could put on my happiness after the Chargers lose, and it's not $2,117 because that's what I won on Das Wonder Kid, and you couldn't make me smile.
Yeah, you were sad. You showed me a ticket for a $2,000 golf winner. And you're like,
I didn't care.
I feel
Indifferent.
I did not feel terrible about hitting that bet.
Indifferent. So there's a price that the game is worth for my soul, and it's more than that, evidently. I don't feel as bad as I probably did on Sunday night, Monday, because there have been some teams, Tim included, that the Breeze, the Roethlisberger, there have just been some season-ending things. I'm not calling the Saints thing season-ending; they're still the favorites.
No, but I appreciate the sympathy.
But there are just some teams have caught some breaks that have ended them. We are in trouble. We have to, sort of like a video game, we have to survive each month in advance and get a new body back. I made the case for Jalen earlier. I think every team in that range that the Chargers are in, no one should not be making an offer. Everyone has got to put their best foot forward there. So I feel better about some of the things. I feel better about myself based on some really bad breaks that have happened with some other teams. And I couldn't imagine not having I can't imagine not having that feeling of this game is important, waking up on a Sunday in September.
Yeah, well.
So that would really suck. That would really suck.
It doesn't suck. This is the best thing that ever happened to the Jets. Now they can actively tank and draft a real quarterback for next year.
But I will say I never felt more alive than Sunday night. And I'll preface that by saying sometimes that's not a good feeling. But I felt.
All right. So you're taking the Chargers.
I felt.
The coin is taking the Chargers. Tim, who are you taking here?
Well, as Henry VIII said to each of his wives, I won't keep you long. I will. I will take
himself up over there.
Yeah, good one.
That's an old joke. I'll take
joke.
Did you learn that when you were a child from your tutor?
I didn't have a tutor. I will take the Chargers.
So you're going to let my joke just go right past?
Yeah, it's true. That's 2 in a row. Wow, wow, that's actually excellent. I'm gonna take the Chargers. Wow, I'm blown away. I'm shook now.
I'll make it a rounded Chargers. I have no real feelings in this game. Will Fuller, I think, is the key to the Houston side of this game. If they can actually connect with him deep, both teams are going to bring pressure and get in the other one's faces. There's going to be turnovers in this game. I don't think that either team is going to be really running the ball all that effectively. I don't think the Texans' defense is all that good outside of the pass rush.
But I've got to say the Chargers seem to run effectively against two pretty effective run defenses.
I mean, a lot of it is just Eckler's pass catching prowess out of the backfield. How healthy is Mike Williams going to be?
He played last week.
He did. He looked all right last week. But
and so
honestly,
I'm taking the Chargers.
So all the fantasy experts, Mike Williams is only going to play in the red zone.
Hey, I heard Ian Rappaport say that. All right, I thought it was real.
I'm not worried about the Chargers at all.
What's that?
I am.
I'm not worried about the Chargers. I wouldn't worry about it.
Saints at Seahawks.
Oh, God.
Seahawks are favored by 4 at home. 44.5 is the over-under in this game. Tim's favorite president, Teddy Roosevelt, is starting for the New Orleans Saints here. I think Teddy's going to look better than he did last week.
Agreed. That's why the Saints are the play here.
Yeah. This is a shortlist super lock for me.
I like the Seahawks here. You guys just both pick against the Seahawks every week.
That's not true. I picked them in the first game.
What's that?
I picked them in the first game.
All right, then you made them the opposite end of your super lock last week. This comes down to almost like it pertains to what was the game earlier, the Detroit-Philadelphia game. Just take the better quarterback and take the better coach. Sean Payton is probably a better coach than Pete Carroll, but I don't know with Teddy Bridgewater under center. I just don't know.
Are the Saints a good team?
Saints are a good team.
Then I got to take the Saints.
Seahawks are a good team.
I know, but you know how much I love this is like my case 101 because the Saints are a really good team, and this is the first game with the backup.
That's true.
So I love this game, to be honest, and I love the Saints to keep it close.
I think Seattle's been a bit fluky the last 2 weeks. I think they could have easily lost either of those games. They won by 1 point and 2 points. I don't know. I just think the Saints are the best of the 3 teams they played so far, and I think the world is going to be on Seattle, and the Saints are a nice little play here. Like the money line too.
I listen. I'm with you guys on all of this. I think Russell Wilson's way better than Teddy Bridgewater. That's what's going to come down to. I'm just curious to see what the Saints offense looks like. Like even with like a week to prepare, like they're down Traquan Smith as well. So that means like Taysom Hill might be one of their starting receivers.
I don't see why that's a problem. I like Taysom Hill. I don't care what anybody says. I think he's a nice player. Wish we had him in New York.
He's a gadget player. He should be on the field 5 plays a game, not every play.
I wish the Jets would trade for him. He'd be a star for the rest of the season. We need a quarterback.
What if we ran a fake on one of those misses?
It's never going to happen. They'll never run a fake field goal. It's never going to happen.
And if he did run a fake and it blew up, he would be called Octavia Spencer so quickly.
I will never. No, I have said I will die that they are allowed to completely botch a fake. And I will give them they have carte blanche to screw one up. Next game though, Pat,
take that time code down because you know what's going to happen.
No, I don't need it down.
From now.
And the next game also buys into my theory, I hope.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm more with you on that one than this one. I just think Seattle's good. And if Seattle I had as a playoff team anyway against the Saints who I had as a playoff team and they lose their star quarterback, I'll just take the team that I thought was good to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely.
And 4 points, yeah, like I said, they played 2 really close games. It's almost like the Detroit thing. Detroit's played close games, and I think they kind of get beat up a bit this week. Seattle hasn't had like a pristine game yet. I can see that happening here. If the Saints' offensive line holds up, then maybe they do have a chance. Like Bridgewater cannot throw the ball down the field at all. Like even when he was good, he can't do it.
He'll be fine.
He's going to wear 2 gloves like Tim does golf.
Hey, listen, thank God. Remember, Teddy intentionally did not want to be the Dolphins quarterback. He's like, I'd rather be the same
Smart
backup.
News. Listen, backup quarterback is legit the best job you can have in the world.
Yeah, you get you just you spark a life and you play for a month and you get Rob Johnson contract. Matt Schaub.
Not even that. They just want to be backups.
Matt Flynn.
I don't have. How much money has Chase Daniel made over the years? Was he started like 3 games?
Well, then you get certain gigs like being Phillips' backup or like Martin Brodeur's backup. Like you just never get a play, and that's pretty cool.
Pittsburgh at San Francisco. I think people need to pump the tires on San Francisco a little bit.
I love the Niners.
There we go.
This is a
super
super
lock.
lock.
To make the playoffs. I picked them to make the playoffs before the season began. I think that they've shown everything I wanted them to show and more. The defense is playing great. Jimmy G, after not the greatest week 1, played much better in week 2. The Steelers are a wounded bird, and I could see things going really south for them really quickly. The 7 is a great number. This is right in the range for super locks. It's
Where
the last.
are you looking, Tim?
He's got the chalk book.
Why do you have the book that we don't use open when you look at this?
I wrote down 7 earlier today. That's what I saw the number at in a couple
on the chalk book.
So you have time to be on Facebook Messenger chatting with people, but not time to pull up the website that we use for this?
I'm going to tease the Niners down. I love them in this game. They're the last end of the free money teaser. They're a much better team than the Steelers with the injuries. The Steelers go across the country to play in San Francisco's home opener. The Niners start the season on the road, at Tampa, go back home, then go to Cincinnati, have to come back home. They won 2 really tough road games in terms of travel. Now they're here against the Steelers team, which, the Steelers, Connor's dinged up. They haven't been able to do anything offensively. They've looked sluggish. Now they're going to Mason Rudolph, who's a big question mark. I don't see any reason to like the Steelers in this game. And I think the Niners, Niners just a really, really good football team. I think they're sound from the coaching staff down, and I think they win this game comfortably. I really, really like San Francisco in this game.
This is a big change from last week's show when Tim was saying that the 49ers shouldn't have won in week 1 against Tampa. They played terrible. So when they play one of the teams Tim likes and has picked, they're terrible. But now all of a sudden that they're a legit Super Bowl contender. I don't know what to make of Pittsburgh. I do trust their infrastructure a little bit, and getting Micah Fitzpatrick can only help their defense, I suppose. The key to Mason Rudolph, though, is that this offensive line is really good. They're going to give him time to throw, and it should mitigate the one thing, really, that the Niners do really well, so far this season at least, and that is get to the passer. If they can keep a clean pocket, and he can step up. Ben, you want to talk about like Sam Darnold being like sick in week 1? Ben has looked hurt through 2 weeks. It turns out that he was. That Mason Rudolph might be an upgrade over what they've seen so far this year from Ben playing injured. He already has a connection from college with James Washington. He got Vance McDonald in a revenge situation back in the mix last week. I think Juju's going to be fine. And if there's one thing you still can't really do to the Steelers, I mean, Seattle had a little bit of success last week, but it's hard to run against them. And a lot of using Jimmy G to his fullest potential is running off play action, but I can see them abandoning the run if it's not going to work and just have him drop back, and all of a sudden Jimmy G's not looking good again. 6.5
Mostert's going to have a big day.
6.5 is just a lot of points, and I don't even hate the money line for the Steelers here.
We are. You said everything. Other than, I love a team that I think is good, who I thought would win 9 or 10 games. First game with the backup. I think even that great O-line plays better. I think everyone steps up.
And it's also an 0-2 team that needs, and they just traded a first-round pick.
That was going to be my next point.
They're
There's
all
a few
in
of them out there, and I've been on a few of these 0-2 teams this week, ATS. I'm pretty confident I've actually almost on all of them.
Also, too, that Tim has played this 5-way 6-point teaser that all he needs is for San Francisco to win. So he's teased it down to minus 0.5. That if Tim sweeps the first 4 games of this teaser, and that's all he needs left to win, just bet the world on Pittsburgh money line.
I don't think Pittsburgh money line is a bad play here at all. Their secondary is atrocious, but every other unit on that, and granted, they made the trade. I don't know how effective he could be, but he'll have a helmet on, and he's better than whatever they probably had there in practice yesterday. Every unit on that team, I look at it, I see talent. Granted, the quarterback thing is a bit up in the air, but there's talent on that team. I've always felt Mike Tomlin is like kind of overrated. I don't really know what he brings. But I got it, like you said, I just think there's the culture, avoiding 0-3, everything. It is literally, they are going to throw the kitchen sink.
Do you think Mike Tomlin will try to trip someone coming down the sidelines?
That's part of it.
That's the extra effort you want from Mike Tomlin.
Kills me last week. Would be such a sucker to go back to them on the super lock, but I'm tempted to it because I think they can win the game.
Me too.
I think they can win the game.
Next game. So that's Pittsburgh for me and you, the coin and CUST on San Francisco. The Rams at Cleveland. Sunday night affair. Cleveland +3 at home.
Why are you bothered?
He doesn't like talking about Cleveland. It triggers him. This is a weird spot. Like, I actually agree with you guys that the Browns did not look good on Monday night against the Jets, but I don't know how much of that had to do with, what?
Score, the situation.
We're going to win this game. Let's get out of here. You know what did look good? Their pass rush.
Oh, yeah.
Their defense looked good.
Turnstile.
And they're not afraid to hit people after the whistle and try to hurt them either.
They most certainly are not.
So
that being said, the Rams are just, you talked about one team being a cut above another. The Rams are a cut above Cleveland. This line is too short. This should be probably 5.5. The value here is on the Rams. I don't think there'll be much sharp money on the Browns. I think that this will be a game that both the squares and the sharps back the Rams. I think that's the only way to play this.
That's my concern.
That is really, I kind of agree with
really like the Rams. I think everything Tim said, the reason that I'd be afraid to actually bet it is that Sunday night game, that recoup, everybody will take every loss they made. And
Rams money line
Rams
will be
here.
just like, what, Paul, throw up the board for a second. I want to see what the money line is here. Sorry about that. Let's see. Money line minus. Oh yeah, everyone who loses their shirt during the day is pounding that minus 150 for sure. That's the part that scares me about it.
And I don't. But still, we're here. Give me the Rams. I do think they're the better team.
Yeah, good first overall pick versus bad first overall pick. I'll take LA all day.
Jeff, if you had to start your team right now, would you rather have Baker Mayfield or Jared Goff? Because the answer is Baker, and I don't think it's that close.
One has been to a Super Bowl and has shown real potential.
One, I don't know what he would be without Sean McVay. The other, I'm pretty sure I could drop him anywhere and he'll rise.
That's the whole thing. I think we know that.
And he'll rise to what? Throwing wide receivers who are open, well over their head. Pretending to be all into Phil Collins when it's all just a show. Like I don't know.
Why do you think it's cool? You're Here's the thing. You're a hypocrite because you get into you were all last week about Minshew and all that stuff and all the cool vibe and mustache and things that he brings. If he chugged a beer last week, you'd have thought it was cool. But Baker doing it bothered you.
I would have been consistent.
But you're not consistent. That's the whole point.
I know I am consistent. I think that Mayfield is braggadocious and phony. I think that's that.
But he's a good quarterback. I agree with you
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah,
He's a good quarterback.
He has not looked good through 2 weeks, and I'm willing to say that. And I like Baker, and I think that he's going to be good. It's unlike with CUST, who's like, Sam Darnold's great, despite the fact that he sucks.
No, he's sick.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
He's not. I mean, he's really like excuse Sam when it comes to how poorly. There's always an excuse for it. Yeah. Oh no, he's not good because of this and because of that. And Baker, no, he's just no good. That's the case with you, is it?
No, that's not the case. It's just that Sam has been sick, so I cut him some slack.
I'm going to pick Cleveland plus 3.
Mayfield is used for playing poorly through 2 weeks.
I worry that this Rams defensive line just annihilates them. I really do.
They should. Like, I don't know why the NFL would put the Browns on Sunday night. Like, no one wants to see this.
People are
so
fired up for
dumb.
the Browns. People have turned on the Browns pretty quickly, though, already.
Of course they have. It was always going to happen. It was silly that they put them on even twice.
Well, again, I said the worst thing to ever happen to the Browns was when you've never won something and you become the hunted instead of the hunter. That's not a good position. That is not a good position.
I hope that all those punts on 4th and 2 or whatever it was because they were playing the Jets and they knew the Jets couldn't move the ball. If they have that sort of game plan and make those sort of decisions this week against the Rams, then they're automatically losing this game.
No, but like you play the Chiefs, you got to go for 4th and 1. You can't win.
I'm concerned that, I don't know that they're going to do it the other way. I don't.
No, I agree with you. It's all about this quarterback will punch you inside your 20 and you go drive 85 yards and score a touchdown on 14 plays. Try. Let's see what you got, kids. No.
But I think the Browns defense looked a lot better last
week. Houston dared Jacksonville to do it, and they almost did. They almost did.
So I'll take the +3 with Cleveland. It's a no bet game for me. I'll probably play a prop from it. I've been finding there's more value on these props than the actual games, to tell you the truth.
Fire
over
props.
On sack.
What's that?
Your heater's over.
The over on sacks is the prop, whatever it is.
No, the over on sacks is that Houston Chargers game. That's the if they said they wouldn't give it to me. I really wanted to bet Houston Jacksonville over sacks last week. They wouldn't put it on the board.
But what's like the standard
5.5
is like the median game? 5, and this will probably be a 6.5.
I would say it'd probably be a 6. I'd still probably take the over. Like Watson's good for 5 sacks a game, basically.
And that's like our strength. And we have
and you have
issues
your down O lineman against a good offensive
line. And they have
line.
premium guys. They have a JJ Watt.
Yeah, like if Rivers gets sacked twice in that game, I'm pretty sure the over's going to hit. And Rivers good for 2 sacks because he's not stupid and trying to force the ball all the time. He does get the ball quickly, though, which worries me. Anyway, Monday night game. Chicago at the Washington Redskins.
Might be my favorite spread of the week.
I don't like this either because I kind of agree with Tim. It's +4 at home for the Skins. 50.5 is the over-under. This game goes one of 2 ways. Chicago continues to suck and does not even come close to covering this spread. Or Washington's bad and they finally like David Montgomery rushes for 175
Trubisky has
yards.
The 38 fantasy points that he had 5 or 6 times
he has
last year.
They have that game and the defense absolutely just annihilates Case Keenum.
That's the game I see.
Okay. I think that's fine.
That's the game I see.
The coin thinks Washington covers. I'm going to take Washington in this game too. And Tim, I believe you're on the same page.
Yeah, I really, really like the Skins this week. I think I could see the Bears winning by 3. That would be fine because we still get our cover there. But
back to
I don't know.
With the late turnover puts me.
Or just I can see this game just being close to the very
end. I see it being
a
grappling, tight, sort of 13-10, 17-14 type of ball game. And in that spot, if I can get over a field goal with the home team, I'm going to take it. The Skins, against 2 pretty darn good teams, Philadelphia and Washington, and Dallas back to back. Hung in games.
They did not hang in that Dallas game. They
lost by 10. Yeah, the last touchdown was sort of cosmetic. They lost by 10.
You mean the one they scored with a minute left when Dallas was not playing at starters anymore?
They didn't quit. Like, they didn't get blown out the way I thought they were going to get blown out a lot this season. So they've shown me a little bit of enough to give them the respect, to give them the nod here on Monday night.
I'm going to take Washington as well, +4, so is the coin.
I'll probably watch a TV show with my wife.
You can watch, what's the new hot network show, Tim?
Can I say something? Network, okay, I'm a premium TV guy. Mm-hmm. I do the premium shows.
But you're a big Good Doctor guy?
That is embarrassing. I don't want to. I will step over the line if I get into it on the Good Doctor. So we'll leave it at that. I will say you cannot, only because I watch football, I see the commercials for it.
Mhm.
You cannot tease your season premiere is the good doctor goes on a date. Okay? That's not a good thing. Like, what sort of shitty cliffhanger did you end your last season on?
Calling out the writers of The Good Doctor.
Okay. I can get into like that cheesy. I will give a try to that cheesy network show that like is titled like SWAT or FBI or
No,
like
but this
or
is
like
us
hold on
recommending.
or like Hot Detectives, and it's like
Two babes?
yeah.
Solving cases. There is a show, I believe it's on Netflix, that has Tony Danza in it. That is the Tim. You remember from the Lisa the Greek episode of The Simpsons from like 1990?
Handle with
Handle with Care. It has the exact same plot line of that show.
I definitely watch it. I used to watch Who's the Boss all the time growing up. I'm a fan of Tony Danza.
My point being is there is, and I'm like I will try that show. That
This Is Us is also great. That's a network.
That is a actively bad show.
That is, I
No,
despise
that's a
that show. I
fantastic
despise that show. Who wants to be entertained with that?
You're not entertained
That's
by
my
it. You
point.
sit around and cry at the show. That's not a real TV
that's
show.
Shit.
I like
I'm
it.
not into
Oh
that.
no, my daughter, like
I'm
she's
not
sick
into
now.
that.
Oh, and she just died in a fire too.
Yeah,
Like that's
oh
not
my
a TV
god.
show.
Oh my god. Who wants to be tortured with that nonsense?
That's great.
Anyway,
Sleeps.
backing up to what I was saying was this year's network lineups, like it's like they've stopped trying. It is horrible. There is nothing that I even want to try. And you just gotta like, Navy SEAL. Like, give me the cheesiest titles. I try you. Because I'm into that sort of those stupid shows.
All right, before we get to those are the games, but before we get to the super locks and everything, as we've been actually, I'm going to save this. Let's get to the super locks. I'm 2-0, so I'll start off. I'm feeling myself a little bit, so I feel like week 3 is really going to go against me here. So I might try to keep it to a down week, but I'm taking Tampa Bay -6.5 at home against the Giants as my super lock. Tim,
Washington +4 at home against the Bears.
that's a greasy one. I kind of like that though. Jeff.
I'm debating between Denver, New Orleans, and Pittsburgh. Don't screw me, Pittsburgh.
That's such a bad pick. Oh God.
Hold
Wow.
on. I'm actually offended.
That you should
Wow.
feel good about this pick.
Tim
No,
has
but like,
one good
we're- like,
lead,
it's
The
and
Niners are
he's-
going
and
to crush them
he's-
by 3 touchdowns.
It's an against
Oh.
the spread thing, so it is a
I
coin
know,
flip,
I know.
regardless
It's
of what
like-
you want to say. I'm offended that you like overtly like went at my
mocking
pick.
you. Mocking
Yeah.
you. Tim is mocking your picks.
I just like the Niners a lot in that game. That's all.
Then
They
why do
would
you
have
make the
been my
Niners your
lock.
super lock?
But I like the Skins. I like the Skins better.
Okay.
But the Niners are in the second pick.
I still think you should put Tampa on your teaser.
No.
No. Keep
No.
him away from that.
Oh,
Keep
yeah,
him
sorry,
away.
sorry,
Keep him
sorry.
away from that game.
Sorry.
Suicide picks. We're all taking Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am.
So Tim, your free money teaser of the week is a 6-point teaser. So tell me if I have this right. Kansas City -0.5, so they just need to win. Buffalo down to a pick'em. Green Bay -1.5. Minnesota -2, and San Francisco -1.5. So all they would have to do is win 2.
That's correct.
What does that pay?
Plus 400.
All right, so 4-1 on the teaser. Now, as we've been going along here, I've been making I'm making a 3-team money line parlay with the teams that Tim said have absolutely no chance of winning this week. So we're going to put the Broncos over the Packers at +290, the Ravens over the Chiefs at +240, and the Steelers over the 49ers at +230. If those 3 teams win, it pays.
I also think the Dolphins have no chance to win.
Well, I'm not going to
Add them to it if you want.
Okay, Tim, thanks. Thanks for your hot take. I'm going to throw $10 on that just for kicks. Pays 43-1, Jeff.
It's pretty good.
Not bad. Probably not going to happen. Probably get 2 of the 3.
Yeah.
I do
No.
like that Steelers money.
I'd be
line.
tempted to also like do 3 singles.
I
almost feel like you should put Pittsburgh on that too, because they basically have no chance to win.
mean, they were on it.
They were on it, yeah.
Oh, I'm not listening. Sorry.
Now, geez, you're just being a real hostile guest here at the end, huh? Really feel you win yet 11 games against the spread last week. All of a sudden, you're the best football picker on earth. You forget about 4 from 2 weeks ago.
He's really stuck up because he drinks like frozen, like he makes like frozen freezer juice with his beautiful ice cubes.
No, he puts his ice cubes so he pours Diet Coke into it for no one else to see.
No, I don't like mixing my Diet Coke with ice unless we're at McDonald's, and then that's fine.
Classy fella.
Do you make juice out of those like freezer cans?
Yeah, exactly. You pull the tab and you pull it out.
Do you? Is that what you do?
Well, it's not the only way I do it. I make Kool-Aid too, but yeah.
You're over 30 years old. You're over 30 years old, and so far on the show, you've talked about eating hot dogs and making Kool-Aid for yourself.
And Kool-Aid is delicious.
Do you have you don't have kids, but do you have like a freezer full of like freezies as well that you have on hot summer days?
That sounds delicious.
I don't have a freezer full, but I do like the white freezies.
Oh, bad freezies. White freezies?
Yeah, it's cream
those
soda.
are the best.
Delicious freezy.
You think it's
They're
the best
by
freezy?
far.
No, but it's on a short. It's yummy.
That and the purple freezy are the
they
two
seem
best.
like they're harder to find, the white ones.
They are
It's like
harder.
black licorice because no one likes it.
No.
It's like a yellow Starburst.
It's like that before these companies came along and like they made like cream soda pink. It's like a clear white drink.
Yeah, see, Geoff gets it.
Hey, way to be on Team Tim. That must make you feel good about yourself after you mocked your super lock.
I know. I've actually, in all the years we've done the show together, I don't think a super lock has been like besmirched like that
I
before.
know.
Mine get besmirched all the time.
No, not your super
they do.
lock. Usually
they
your
do.
teasers or your
Last
logic.
week when I took the Raiders, I got besmirched,
As you should have been.
and I was wrong. But like it happens. I've taken it on the chin many a times with picks that I made.
Question from the audience, sir.
I just want to know how long Adam Gase's leash is. I'll hang up.
It would have been short, but now that his star QB is sick, I can't evaluate what's going on. So I'm annoyed with what they're doing. I thought the game plan was poor last night, but you're asking him to play one-handed without a star QB. So unfortunately, I can't really judge, and I have to postpone judgment till a little later on.
I don't think that's fair. You say he played one-handed, he still couldn't get anything done. Jim Abbott threw a no-hitter, pal.
That's a fair point.
You work with what the cards you're dealt's what you got to work with. Good coaches overcome. How come you didn't have any of the new quarterback vibes for the Jets-Patriots game, Geoff?
No, doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work.
Well, he did.
No, I picked the Jets because they are trying as a team. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're so bad. Doesn't matter if they're trying or not. We said it's pathetic that they're trying at this point. They should pretend like they're not trying. They got safeties trying to quit. No one wants to play. Sad, and they're very Andercursed. Tim's even picking them this week, and you're picking with him on the Jets. You don't think the Patriots want to embarrass the Jets more so than they normally do?
You've got someone who's got their favorite team and their second favorite teams.
Shut up. It's not even a thing. Like,
It was always supposed to be a secret, eh?
no, not a secret.
Hey, I didn't bring it up.
My fandom for them is so non-existent that like to call them a favorite would be silly. But I think if California fell into the ocean, I could adopt the Jets maybe.
Oh, but then they could be the Atlantis Chargers, and you'd be all fired up. They probably have a casino there at the stadium. Geoff Fienberg, thank you for being here in studio. You can follow Geoff on Twitter at GFienberg17. I'd like to thank Paul Shaughnessy at Paul Shag behind the camera. The Coin, L Coin, potentially on Twitter when I finally make one. So it's very valuable to have him. I'd also like to thank Tim Undergust.
Tim Undergust.
That is not my name.
For being on the line. A bunch of giveaways. Remember, anytime, and this just applies to like this show or maybe even any show. I think I disconnected Tim, so I can't even hear him at this point. Probably for the best. But if you just leave the time codes of like spots of the show that you like or you think that are funny, it will help me compile a best of at the end of the season. So when you forget all this stuff 13 weeks from now and you're like dealing with your family over Christmas and want to get away, we'll release it over Christmas. It'll be a fun show to have, and where it's just Paul and I trying to produce all this stuff, and we do do, at this point, 10 shows a week. We don't have time to be like scrubbing through everything and going back. So we only look forward on the show. So we can use the help of the audience. You can put it in the description of the video or the comment board on the videos, or just email thepatmayoexperience@gmail.com with the episode title, the date of it, and the time codes of the show. It'll help create an awesome show, and I will spend some time putting all that together if people actually go and do this. That sounds fun, right, Tim? Or right, Geoff? Sorry?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as someone that best of stuff is anyone in the content creation, like television, radio, I guess now internet, that best of stuff was always the bane of my existence. So if you're,
because it's hard to gather, like it's hard to
Yes.
file stuff away.
you just got to get through the days and to have best of on your mind all year. So I know you are subletting it to the people, but hey, if they got memories that they know are kind of evergreen, that's what we want.
Yeah, all I'm saying is just like if you're listening or watching in like real time and you've like, hey, that's a pretty funny part, or that's a part that I'd like to see again 3 months from now, just email me the time code and tell me what the show is from. And then like I can just go through the emails like, oh, I have that show. I'll cut it here and here and boom, we're good to go. Also find all the stuff Tim said good about the Jets throughout the course of the past 8 months. I'll even do a giveaway for that one, like I said.
There should be no giveaways.
If
Ever?
those,
You
like,
think the people don't deserve giveaways?
if those cut sweat shows exist, when you would leave, go for like a washroom or a ciggy break, and would just leave me and Tim, sometimes it would devolve, and it's in the winter, so it's in the heart of like off season. It would just right away go right into Jets talk. And in March, or sorry, in like June, that's when we're in that like 12-win territory.
Maybe we should just scrap pick show, fantasy football, whatever. And we'll just, me, you, and Tim have a general talk show for 2 hours every morning. What do you think?
That'd be fun.
Do you think anyone would listen to that?
More than you think, apparently.
I don't know. Like, we'd still talk sports, obviously. We just talk about
Yeah.
whatever. Like, it wouldn't have a singular focus. It could literally be about anything.
Be a morning zoo.
Morning zoo, we could have we could have sports. It'd be half cuss corner. Tim could weigh in with his political takes that people hate.
We'd play like prank calls that like people we'd like
Oh,
set Tim up with
Here's the segment. We
calls.
could do prank calls. Like, people will think that a celebrity is calling them, but it's just one of Tim's impressions. You're like, well, what is this? You're like, oh, hello, this is Christopher Walken calling you.
Someone picks up the phone, they go, hello, and I go, yo. They go, oh my God, Alf is calling me. How did you get my number, Alf? I heard you have cats.
That might be your best impression. Just, yo. Oh, all right, that'll do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. You can find the cheat sheet up on my Facebook page at dkplaybook.com if you're ever really concerned about following these picks, which you shouldn't, by the way. And if you do, you might need to call 1-800-GAMBLER because you people may have a problem. I'll put out my actual bets on Sunday morning with the props and the actual spreads that I like. I might actually jump on that -2 or -1.5. That's still available for Tennessee right now. Maybe I'll let people bet Jacksonville all the way, then take Tennessee. I don't know. I'll let you know on the social media. So follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the PME. Subscribe to all the shows, download them. Even if you don't listen to them, download the audio stuff. We're trying to get to 15 million downloads, and I'd like to hit that number, all right? Thank you all for watching. I'm Pat Mayo. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience.
I'll tell you what, this 17-year-old left-handed golfer looks legit.
Akse Batia?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oksana Bayul. Tim
Hold
just
on.
heard of him.
But what do you mean looks legit? Like you've seen
I
him take a
saw
shot?
highlights of him today on Twitter. Like
Highlights
And I was
of
like-
what? Like him on the range? Like
golf
what?
shots he was taking. I was like, oh my goodness, this kid is. I need to be in early on this next great superstar. So I think this could be it.
The move for you really would have been to make like Bobby McIntyre your guy. He's
Yeah,
like-
why did he avoid that guy?
He's like a tall, chubby lefty Euro
Scot,
who's good.
right?
Yeah,
Or Englishman?
he's a Scot. Yeah, that would have been your plan.
I got nothing against that guy.
Hey, but if you're gonna like latch on to someone, I feel like that would have been your guy. He's the golfer that most looks like you.
Sounds like he's a lot like Monty.
I mean, you kind of look like Colin
Yeah,
Montgomery.
that's right up your alley.
He might have like a foot on Colin Montgomery, but you do look like him.
Was Colin Montgomery not that tall?
I don't think that like he's Ian Woosnam short. I don't think he's a huge. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't think he's a huge
I'll look
guy.
that up. I
I
thought
think
he
he's a
was like
pretty
a
big guy. I think
Is
he's
he?
pretty
I thought he
like
was
just
about
like
my
a
height.
brick
I'm
shit
gonna-
house.
I'm gonna effort that.
I figured he was like 5'8" and stocky.
No.
Well,
I
he's
could be
stocky.
wrong.
There's no question about that.
I could be wrong.
Well, it's hard to be like 6'2" and stocky.
No, those are brick shit houses, like Pat and Kazire.
I think Kazire's bigger than that. I don't know.
He's 6'1".
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's big.
Well, you still have an inch on him at least.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, when Tim played Tiger Woods create a player mode, he just picked Colin Montgomery and just adjusted it a little bit. Made his hair fro up a little bit more.
Yeah, and I made him swing from the right side of the ball.
Paul, once we're set up, just take a look at Geoff's shot because I kind of like freelanced it. Just so unless
got
it
me
looks
down
right on the
for-
screen.
11 wins and 5 losses.
That's what I have you as. Yes,
That's what I had too.
that puts you 3 games behind me after you declared your season over.
Oh, it's that it took a miracle week for me, and I'm still behind you. That's not going to happen. There is some free money out there this week, though. I have to say, more than usual.
That's good to know.
Was that Kirkland water, Geoff?
It's fine. Do you oppose?
It's all right. It's middle of the pack water.
Yeah, I'm not. Listen, it's what's available, and I don't get picky.
No, fair.
Can you just swing this light so it's more over this way? Yeah, perfect.
No, I have an eagle eye for these sorts of things.
It's a super taster.
Sick, man. Where did I have this? Oh yeah.
That was a nice catch this week in golf. You did quite well there, Geoff.
Yeah.
Team
Pat's
Neiman.
on a heater.
Yeah, I the past week, gambling wise, has been absolute fire for me. So I decided
Do
to
you
play
want-
2 doubles.
Do you want to know what I think?
What?
I think your streak has come to its conclusion.
That's good. Great news.
Why are you just?
do you wanna
telling
get-
Why are you telling your friend he's done winning bets?
No,
this-
just his
this
streak
the-
is over.
This is the greatest news possible. You should get it on these doubles then. You need to bet Connors with Finau and Scheffler with Finau, and we'll $10 bet wins you $7K.
Connor and okay, I might do that because I feel like I'm gonna bet all. I've bet all 3 of those guys anyway. Connor, Finau, Scheffler.
I don't make picks, but for the BMW, I think that Fleetwood would win. Seems like
Oh.
Sucker.
you know,
Dude.
it's a
Tommy,
legal
not
tournament.
elite. Tommy, not elitewood.
Yeah, this is precisely the sort of
It's a
meaningless.
pretty good
September
field,
tournament.
Tim.
It's actually a pretty
It's the biggest
prestigious
event on the European Tour. What are you talking
I
about?
think the Wentworth.
This
event
is
live.
Wentworth, you dummy.
I thought that was the Masters. Is that not the Masters?
No, it's the
This
BMW.
is
This is the BMW. Yeah, this is like their player. This is like their Sawgrass, like Wentworth. It's
Yeah,
where their
sure.
offices are. It's
It's the biggest event on the European Tour.
Sure, Fleetwood will win that because it's not a major, but people will pretend like it's important, and so
well.
You just said it was important until you found out about it.
it is
important for
important,
Europe.
and I know that the schedule timing is different. But Molinari won this and then went unconscious for a fucking summer.
Yeah.
I've
All
made
right.
the pick.
Alex Noren shot like a 61 on Sunday or something insane a
To win
couple
it,
years
yeah.
ago. Like insane.
All right, we good, Paul?
Experience!